Hello, everyone. Hello. Hello, it's me. It's Techno, and we are streaming tonight. Yeah, it's a different model. It's a model that I did not specifically get for April 1st, but I did get this particular design done, and I decided to rig it up for April 1st because I figured it'd be fun to do that, to rig up this PNG tuber for April 1st stuff. So, it's got a few different options and stuff in it. I'm just trying to remember all the buttons for configuring it. Let's see. Which one's the angry eyes one? Um, yeah. Oh yeah, there's the toggle for the actual like whole setup there. Yeah, that's got a toggle. I'm just trying to remember what button it is. Okay, there's the one that's not finished yet. There's the angry eyes. Okay, there we go. It's just hard to see in the thing. But yeah, we have a happy and we have an angry eyes type toggle here. It's a fun one here, and yeah, the credit for this model goes to Hika. I'm just gonna give her a shout out. She's actually going live right now, but I'm just double checking I get the spelling right though. Let's see. Anyway, there we go. Let's do a shout out there as a thank you because yeah, Hika's the one that did this little model there. But yeah, we're gonna have some fun here. We're gonna have a little bit of fun, and we are going to go and we are gonna do a tier list thing, which is not something I've really done before. But I figured it'd be fun April 1st thing to do. Just a fun little exercise. Mm-hmm. Just taking a sip of my tea here. Mm, that's good tea. That's quite good tea. Oh yeah, also I can toggle the little ship too. Hold up, which button is that? That is this one here. Yes. Yes, we can toggle the ship as well. And then just bounce around like this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I rigged all this up in PNG Tuber Remix. It was fun to set up there. But yeah, let's see. Let's let's get started on this tier list now, shall we? So yeah, we are going to be doing a Disney type tier list as is indicated there. And we are going to be going through a whole bunch of like heroes and villains and stuff there throughout like various Disney properties like movies, TV. The main thing that we have, actually, I forgot to put a little note here on this. Let me edit this. Let me edit this thing and add a little caption because I should have done that there. Let's see. Let's see. Let's just put this up here. All right, there we go. There we go. Okay, now we are cooking. Now we got this all set up. So so yeah, I've got a whole list here, and we are going to rank different characters. We're going to rank 3 different characters. I'm just going to expand this a little bit here. Just make sure that you can see all the tiers. So we're going to have a bunch of just silly little tiers on this. We're going to have a whole bunch of silly tiers that we're doing for this. And we are ranking villains on my own scale of criteria here. Yeah. Yeah, we are. I am very much going to use a very arbitrary criteria here that is going, that is fit for villains. It's going from, like, did nothing wrong, is, obviously that's like those are the villains who, obviously, like, they were completely justified. They weren't ever really, like, well, were never really, like, the villains in the piece. Like, villain is a wrong term. Like, they did everything they were supposed to. Like, they might have been following orders. Maybe they were morally correct. Who knows? Maybe they were just like really awesome villains. But yeah, did nothing wrong is going to be our 1 tier. Next up, of course, we got mostly harmless. Those are people who are like, they didn't do that much wrong. But I mean, like, there's but they still did some evil stuff here and there. They still did some bad stuff here and there. We got endearingly awful, which is those villains that you love to hate. There, obviously. Yeah, there's villains you love to hate. You love to hate. They don't do anything that's that bad. They did evil things, but you kind of, yeah, yeah. Let's see what else we got here. And then of course we go into the other tiers here. We've got, let's see, we got needs calling out. I mean that one is pretty self-explanatory, obviously. Needs calling out is what we put there for a villain who, like maybe this antagonist, they did some things that probably should, get some attention there. They maybe their villainy was not properly recognized in various media, and they need to be called out for their actions. Let's see what else here. We've got then kind of ruined everything. Kind of ruined everything. Obviously, is well, I mean, yeah, that means that they maybe they acted like they had the most altruistic intentions and stuff, but they just made everything worse. They just made everything way worse, yeah, by virtue of whatever it was they were doing. And then, of course, that last tier is kill them with fire. Kill them with fire. And I mean, like, I think that's pretty self-explanatory that it's going to be reserved for probably a small handful of characters here. We can probably guess who some of those characters are right off the bat. But yeah, that is the general plan for how we are going to be approaching all of these rankings. Let's see. Um, let's let's get going with stuff here. So, what will I guess we'll start, and I will bring up the window. I will bring up the second window here. Just a second here, because I have a secondary window, and as soon as I pick I'm just gonna pick something arbitrary here, and this is going to be used to help set the tone. Because yeah, I'm gonna use the second window, the mini viewer here. Oh, wrong view. Did that not set up properly? Oh. Hold up, I thought I set all this up. That's annoying. Where is this? I set all this stuff up before I went live. Maybe I didn't save the changes properly. Oh, no, there it is. It must not be finding the window. Okay, otherwise find window of same executable. Okay, that's why. All right, so this should work now. There we go. Okay, so there we go. We got our first one there, and I need to move the caption, obviously. First one we got up there, we have Bradford Buzzard. That is going to be the first one we're ranking tonight. So, where is my? Hold up. Where's the browser view? Gonna need to adjust this stuff. Yay, stream stuff. Wouldn't be a stream without stuff needing to all get adjusted on the fly. Let's just make this smaller. All right, and there we go. Okay. So, there. So we're ranking Disney antagonists. We're ranking Disney antagonists here. And we are starting off with Bradford Buzzard here on this list here. So Bradford Buzzard, what is there to say about Bradford Buzzard other than I should probably put some music on? And if I put music on, we should start with a proper villain theme. Yep, what he says. Mm-hmm. All right. Anyway, let's see. So we're going to start this here with Bradford Buzzard, as I mentioned. Bradford is he is the head of Fowl in the recent DuckTales cartoon. He is absolutely, like the type of character. He is like, the end game antagonist of the series. There, he is the one. He is the opponent of Scrooge McDuck. And you know what? I think we need to. I think we need to analyze him. So, what do we think of Bradford here? So, hold up. I'm just adjusting my window size here. Let's see. All right. So, Bradford. Let me just find him on the tier list. So I'm just making my browser a bit bigger so I can see everyone, because we got a lot to get through here. Okay, so Bradford had a foul, as I mentioned there, and thinking about it in terms of where would Bradford fit on here? Let's see. Well, kill them with fire. I mean, he definitely does not fit there. He did some horrible things, but yeah, definitely doesn't fit there. But let's see. Kind of ruined everything. Needs calling. Well, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing with Bradford Buzzard. Bradford Buzzard, as a character, his primary motivation was normalcy. You know what? I'm going to switch this. I love this song, but Oh, we got a Doofenshmirtz one here. Nice. Yeah. Okay, let's try this one here. Okay, but anyway, so as I keep trying to say, Bradford Buzzard. Ultimately, I think if we have to rank him here, um, you know what? I'm going to make the case for did nothing wrong here. We're going to start this off boldly with a did nothing wrong on Bradford Buzzard. And why are we putting Bradford on did nothing wrong? Well, that's pretty clear. His whole agenda was stability, was trying to tamp down on all the weird, on all the abnormal stuff, on making the world a place that generally just ran itself properly without any weird, eccentric, billionaires mucking about everything. And, like none of this paranormal stuff, just finance, money, keeping things spinning, keeping things nice and stable. That was what he was after. And you know what? I think that's a laudable goal. He built an entire organization and was willing to don the name of evil in order to actually accomplish his aims. Like it was straight up a case of took on it. He took on the title of evil because it served his interests. Although he was never really that evil. I mean, like he just wanted to. He just wanted the world to run properly, so that profit. So now that we got that done. All right, we got this guy. You might be asking why he's here, obviously. You might be asking why we are doing this bear, why we are doing Winnie the Pooh next for our tier rankings. Well, I have a very, very good reason for Winnie the Pooh being on this list, and that is because, well, you might not think he's that much of a villain. I mean, like he's a friendly character. He's a friendly character. He's affable, but what else? He is a moocher for one. He is always trying to take everyone else's honey. So he does, and he has no intent of paying back. Like he is completely self-centered. The only thing he thinks about is his own selfish aggrandizement, and not just that, but has anyone considered the bees? Winnie the Pooh and bees. I mean, yeah, bees make honey. They do not make it for Pooh. Pooh goes and Pooh disrupts the bees and disrupts their life, and all they can do is try and defend their own homes against this invasive predatory species that seeks to take everything that they have made unearned, which fits with the entire pattern there that is already established of how, he does that with Rabbit, he does that with everyone else who has honey, he tries to take their stuff from them. So where Pooh goes on here. You know what? I don't think he's. I wouldn't say he's like kind of ruined anything here, but I would say he absolutely does need calling out for his evil intent and for his deeds. All right. So now that we've done that, there, let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. And next up we have Ludo. We have Ludo Avarius, if I'm remembering right, from Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Now, yeah. Where does Ludo rank on this? Well, Ludo is kind of a lot of fun. I mean, one, he's an Alan Tudyk character. You can't go wrong with an Alan Tudyk character. You absolutely cannot go wrong with Alan Tudyk characters. And yeah. So Alan Tudyk character, and has a whole array of minions, a whole array of monster minions, and he's seeking to gain power and rebuild a monster kingdom and stuff. But at first it's a very one-dimensional. I would initially put him as like probably like one of those mostly harmless, and like Ludo I would start off with mostly harmless, but because he doesn't really accomplish a lot of his aims. He's your standard like fun little villain there who doesn't really do a lot of damage, and it's more so like some of his minions, like Toffee and stuff like that, who is like the bigger villain. But see, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. I have to actually, yeah, I have to actually say that Ludo didn't do anything wrong because you know what? You know what? The thing is with Ludo here is that the monsters were the indigenous species there. An invasive kingdom came in and took their power and demonized the monsters and made them out to be like monstrous creatures. So Ludo did absolutely nothing wrong. He got, and for his efforts, he basically got driven insane. And yeah. All right, let's move on to Clue. So Clue, Clue was Clue 2.0 was the villain from Tron Legacy, played by a CGI Jeff Bridges, and Clue Clue sought to unite the grid, bring it under his control, get rid of any aberrant elements, and his ultimate goal was to invade the real world as well, if memory serves. Now, you know what? This you would, because it's the digital world, you would generally think like mostly harmless. It's not going to be like it's not going to be a lot of destruction, I suppose. You know what? I can't really say he did nothing wrong for him because you know what? He's still like a totalitarian, like still kind of awful. Like he was still like self-aggrandizement in the name of power. But hmm, I'm not even sure where to put him here. Actually, where do I want to put him? I don't think he's mostly harmless. I wouldn't put him as mostly harmless, and I wouldn't put him as did nothing wrong. I think Clue honestly is going to need to go under. Let's see. Let's put Clue under the. Hmm. You know, I'm gonna put him under needs calling out here because, well, actually, I'm not really sure where to put him. My tier list doesn't really accommodate Clue all that well. Actually, looking at this here, that's kind of funny. Um, let's see. You know what? I'm just gonna go with the Disney music. It's kind of distracting me as I'm going through this. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, Clue. Yeah, I made this hard for myself, didn't I? I don't want to say did nothing wrong, because he was in the pursuit of power there. I guess we can put him under mostly harm because there's also all the stuff that he did there in like the other Tron series there too. I'm, you know what? You know what? I suppose I'll put him under mostly harmless because ultimately he just wanted to bring order. He did want to bring order. He, took the, if you want to break an omelet, make an omelet, you need to break a few eggs approach. So I guess we'll put him under mostly harmless there because, yeah, he still did do harm, but yeah. All right. All right. Next up we have one that is definitely going to be going down a list here, and that is Demetrios from the Tangled animated series. Now, you might not be familiar with this if you haven't seen the Tangled animated series. The Tangled series is really good. The Tangled series is really good. I highly recommend the Tangled animated series. And I think the most important thing about the Tangled animated series here is that like a lot of conflicts got set in motion like eons ago, and Demetrios is like was involved in setting a lot of stuff in that motion. Like he is not the main he is not the main antagonist of the series. The main antagonist of the series is another character. But the thing with Demetrius is that like we learn stuff like by the end of the series that makes me suspect that he was very much responsible for setting a lot of the events in motion because the main villain was his student and is also presented as this big monster. But then we find out that yeah, not really so much as a monster considering that they present as like well, they present as a younger girl, I suppose, there in terms of stuff, and it just suggests there's enough implications to suggest that Demetrius wasn't cool with sharing power, and that's kind of what happened. Mm. And because of that, he's kind of responsible for all the events of the series there because he's the reason that the main villain like became like a threat because he's kind of screwed. He's responsible for teaching that villain there, and then they went off on their tangent. But we have a very biased perspective, and and while the main villain there, like while she did do some awful stuff, like Demetrius had a hand in all that stuff, and he's kind of responsible for like setting a lot of things in motion. So you know what? I'm gonna put him under needs calling out. All right, next up we have Donald Duck. I mean, does Donald Duck belong in a villain list? I mean, he gets angry a lot. He gets justifiably angry a lot. I mean, he's not really that much of an antagonist. I mean, he's more an antagonist in the Huey, Dewey, Louie cartoons there because they're frustrating him and stuff. But you know what? I think, and he disrupts a lot of well-meaning antagonistic schemes. I mean, I think Donald belongs on a did nothing wrong. I don't think there's much of a question there. But we got a whole mix of Disney characters here. All right, Heinz Doofenshmirtz. Heinz Doofenshmirtz. Well, this is a man who has some deep-seated childhood trauma issues there because of like all of this backstory that has been fleshed out over years of the series. And I don't think we can really say anything bad about Doofenshmirtz there. I mean, like, he is a self-starter. He owns a building. I mean, that's something. He owns a building. Builds and he does evil organizations. He is let's see, he is a divorced father who is on good terms with both his ex-wife and his daughter. While he doesn't have full custody, while his daughter doesn't live with him, he does still see her on a regular basis. There's no custody issues or anything like that, and he even gets alimony from his wife. Like he is on very good terms with her, and his ambitions are essentially just to take over the tri-state area, which what, let's be honest, considering his you know I don't we don't really know necessarily what he wants to do with the tri-state area. I mean, we've gotten hints from like when they did the Across the Other Dimensions one. I mean, obviously in that movie he kind of went full evil and stuff, but you know what, in the context of the main universe, I'm going to say Doofenshmirtz did nothing wrong. Mm-hmm. All right, next up we have the Beast. Okay, the Beast. So the Beast here, you know what? Let's look at some context here. When the Beast was 13 years old, he was spoiled as hell. He was spoiled rotten, and he insulted the Traveler. He was a complete dick to her. As it turned out, that Traveler was actually like a powerful sorceress, and she turned him into she turned him and his court into a beast and household objects and all that sort of stuff. Um, yeah, so you could say that the Beast, well, he was just a kid, and he was just a kid being a stupid kid. But I will counterpoint that by pointing out that the Beast is also part of the French nobility. This is an entire class of people who, within probably like several decades of the story of Beauty and the Beast, they would get justifiably wiped out by the French Revolution because they are out of touch aristocrats. Like the Beast has all these resources himself, and he does nothing for the townsfolk. He just shuts himself away and he keeps everything to himself. And yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the Beast kind of goes on kind of ruining everything because no one talks about like what he did to his servants. Like he ruined his servants' lives. He ruined his servants' lives. He caused them all to get turned into furniture. No thought. Like that is all his responsibility, and his approach to all that was essentially just to sulk and leave them all be. He did nothing proactive to try and break the spell. He just hid away. He just hid away and just left himself to his own fate without concern for like how he was also like cursing his servants at the same time. Complete jerk move, and that's what puts him as kind of ruined everything. All right, let's keep going. All right, Dr. Facilier. Dr. Facilier next. All right, so it is the villain of Princess and the Frog. Um, he is ambitious. He is a very ambitious individual. He consorts with voodoo spirits there and makes deals with friends from the other side. He's Keith David. Keith David, being a villain, like always gives him points. He gets a really good musical number. Um, and he definitely does some evil stuff. Like he turns someone into a frog. He's trying to usurp get a whole bunch of riches there through the sake of all of his scheming and everything. I mean, I don't think you can really I don't think you can really argue that he's not a good person. He is like a scammer. He's a con artist. He's a scammer, and he's making all these deals. So, you know what? I think we're gonna put him as endearingly awful because he's a bad person, but he is also Keith David. He is also Keith David, and Keith David is and he's just a fun, charismatic villain. Endearingly awful is Dr. Facilier in a nutshell. All right, next up we have from the Mighty Ducks cartoon, Lord Dragonus. Lord Dragonus, voiced by Tim Curry. Well, let's see. Where's he gonna go? There's nothing really to call him out about. Yeah, I think I would probably put him under. I'd put him under endearingly awful. I think there. I'm not gonna spend much time because my memories of the Mighty Ducks cartoon are kind of dim. But he is somebody who did go and conquer a planet, so you can't really argue that he did nothing wrong. That's a hard one to argue there. Because he attacked a peaceful population of hockey playing ducks and took over all that stuff. So I think with Dragonus, we're gonna have to put him under endearingly awful because he's Tim Curry. Tim Curry villains are endearing. You can't. There's no such thing as a non-endearing Tim Curry villain. Yeah. So, all right. Let's see who's next. Who is next? And next we have what's his name? From Okay, I am just trying to refresh my memory here on his name there. It's the villain from Amphibia there. It is what's his name? I'm just checking this up here. No, King Andrius, yes. Andrius. So Andrius, it's another Keith David character actually. We got another Keith David character on this list, and Andrius is a fun character. Let's see what else. Yeah, Andrius. Yeah, he's a frog. He is, trying to conquer other worlds and stuff like that. He is power. He presents himself as. I'm not really sure where to put him here. I'm not going to put him as did nothing wrong because Andrius. It's hard to argue that he was straight up trying to invade other worlds. Although a lot of that though, a lot of that was because that kind of got ingrained in him there. He did make attempts afterwards to kind of repent for his evil afterwards. Like he wasn't like an evil person. Um, like he had a sense of morality about him. Like, and he knew like when he did stuff that was going to be wrong. Um, but he also attacked Marcy, like when she was his friend and took advantage of her. And you know what? I think that he's responsible for a lot of the conflicts in that series and everything. So I think that we kind of do need to put him under kind of ruined everything. All right, Ida, the owl lady from the Owl House. Well, where do we put her? I mean, she is. I mean, you could question whether or not she counts as an antagonist. I suppose she is to like the establishment there. She's a fun character. I wouldn't put her as a mostly harmless. She gets up to a lot of mischief over the course of the series, a lot of vandalism. Like she's just a wild character there. But she's a lot of fun as a character there. I would put her probably as endearingly awful. All right, who do we have up next? Let's see. Ah, yes, Yzma. Yzma from Emperor's New Groove. Oh, I love her character. I love her. She is a fun character. She is a fun character, and I'm going to make the bold declaration that she did nothing wrong here. Why am I saying that she did nothing wrong? Well, I mean, did she try and poison the king? Yes. Have you seen the king? Well, yes, you have. Well, look at Cusco. And also, most importantly, she was trying to be a responsible advisor to the king. She was honestly having to deal with this headache of a prince. He wasn't king yet. He was just still a prince, I think. Yeah, but she's having to deal with this headache of a spoiled prince, trying to direct him and advise him. He didn't give her the time of day, and the reward she got for all of her many years of trying to steer the kingdom and trying to do a good job was get fired. And she did what what anyone would do if their boss was a totalitarian monster. She took advantage of her brief time before she left the palace and tried to assassinate him and take his place because he was very clearly an incompetent, useless ruler. Like he was a bad ruler. Yzma was actually knew how to run a kingdom. Was she a little bit egomaniacal? Yes, of course. Power does things to people. But Yzma also actually knew how to rule. And as such, Yzma belongs definitely in did nothing wrong. All right, what else we got here? What else we got? Well, we have the evil queen there from Snow White. Well, so Snow White, evil queen. You know what? Well, she was entirely obsessed with her vanity. And the minute that she saw someone that challenged her power, she decided to send someone out to go and kill them. And she even took matters in her own hands at the last minute to try and like finish the job because she thought this person was dead. I mean, you know what? She doesn't really like. We don't really get an idea of like what the evil queen's rule is actually like. Evil queen is like we only really get the sense that she's an evil queen because of how she treats her stepdaughter. Like it is very. We never really get an actual sign that she is actually like a bad monarch. For all we know, her husband could have been like horrible, and she could have been the one holding it together. We honestly don't know. And hell, if we include Once Upon a Time, which is a different version of the character, I mean, like she's not really that evil in that series. I think I'm gonna have to put her as well, mostly harmless, because aside from trying to kill her heir, like you know, and even then, if she killed Snow White, what then? Because there were no male heir, there were no male or female heirs. So what would have probably happened then is she would have passed, and we would have had like maybe we would have seen the end of the monarchy. Maybe she was trying to bring about the end of the dynastic line. We don't know that. We don't get enough context about what she was up to. So yeah, mostly harmless. Very much defines the evil queen. Hmm. Yeah, I'm just checking something here. Interesting. Let's see. All right. So what else we got here? All right. So next up on the list, we did the evil queen. All right, we got the best guy. We got Flintheart Glomgold. We got the Glomgold as seen in the recent DuckTales cartoon. I specifically went with this version here and not the original comic version because the original comic version is a much more awful person than like he is just an awful person. The original version of Glomgold, but this version of Glomgold, oh my god, he is just entertaining. He is hilarious. He is the better of the evil South African billionaires. Like he is very entertaining. He is crazy. He is nuts. He is off his rocker. He is petty. I don't think I can call him mostly harmless or did nothing wrong because no, he absolutely does everything wrong and that is his charm. He is horrible. He is awful. He does everything wrong and like he takes the pettiest slights and then makes and just builds an entire scheme just to get over like the pettiest slights. So he very much is endearingly awful. Yep. All right, let's see. So next up we have Flynn. We have Flynn here, who um, Flynn, he left the company, started his own arcade there. He had his work taken by the company there and was kind of stolen from him and got wronged. And you know what? He is the hero of the original Tron. That being said, that being said, Flynn is directly responsible for all the events of Tron Legacy. Um, he also, he also was a corporate CEO for a good chunk of time as well too before he disappeared. And also we should point out that he's a negligent father because one day he went into the grid and he disappeared and never came back. Was that his fault? I mean, you could argue that that wasn't his fault because his creation did that, but he still made his creation and his creation was an echo of himself. So you can say that that entire instinct was in Flynn all along. So you know what? I think we need to put Flynn as a needs calling out because he's the one who directly enabled the entire potential cyberspace apocalypse there. He even calls himself out in the movie that it's all his fault. So yeah, we're gonna put Flynn there on needs calling out. All right, next up we have Principal Folsom from Disney's Fillmore. This is the show I love. I love this show. Seriously, I had to put someone from that show in here. And I did put someone else in here too. But yeah, Folsom, she is the principal, and she fills the archetype there, because it's a show there where like the safety patrol for the school has the same archetype as the police. It's essentially a cop drama that's set in a school, and it's really fun because of that, because it follows all the standard beats of police procedurals, but like with kids in school and taking all that stuff completely seriously. And she has the role of like she plays the role of kind of like the mayor DA type person there, who's like coming down on the police for not doing their jobs properly and just getting in the way and stuff and just getting on their case and always threatening to shut them down because they're not doing their job, because they're not catching the culprits. I mean, that being said though, she does nothing wrong because she is still ultimately at the end of the day, she is a school administrator that is straight up like babysitting children as her job and having to deal with all these children. And you know what? The more I think about this, I think that no, I'm gonna keep her as did nothing wrong for one simple reason, and that is because because I will give credit. I will give Folsom credit here because rather than bring in an actual police presence, rather than bring in actual law enforcement, with their propensity to actually treat children like criminals, she decided to empower the children to be those policing authorities. And she made sure that they were under her thumb. Like they knew that they had very little rope. She gave them very little rope all throughout the course of the series, and she was always coming down on them. And she taught them good life skills in the process there. So she enabled them to pick. She enabled them to pick future careers. Plus, look at all the school programs that school has too. Like it's a very well-run school. It is a very diverse school in terms of the amount of things that students can do. So Folsom absolutely did nothing wrong. Folsom absolutely did nothing wrong here. All right, what else we got here? How many have we done on the list so far? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Yeah, we got a lot here. We got a lot to go here. Okay, we still got a bunch. So let's keep going here. Well, why is Friar Tuck on this list, you might ask? Well, why is Friar Tuck on this list? Well, I mean, that should be pretty self-evident. Friar Tuck is a member of the Roman Catholic Church. The Roman Catholic Church obviously is responsible for extracting a lot of wealth out of Europe and enriching themselves, and like his money's not going to the poor at the end of the day. Like the reason his money isn't going to the poor is because it's going back to Rome. So he is extracting wealth from all. He is complicit in the extraction of wealth from the country and taking it out from the average citizens and from helping them and going into just papal coffers. And he is propping up and also not just that, but as a representative of the church, he is also full on propping up the entire monarchic legitimacy. That's right. That's right, because as everyone knows, like European monarchs, they use the idea of that they were anointed by God as a claim to legitimacy. and Friar Tuck is that representative there. And John is the brother of the king, yes, but John is the brother, is still only in his position because the church allowed it so, and the church created those institutions. So as such, you know what, Friar Tuck is going to, you know, I think he's well intentioned, but I think he does need calling out. I think he does need calling out, especially when you recall too. And most importantly, remember that Richard was left England because of the Crusades. He left England because of the Crusades, and because of that, and which is a religious conflict. So he was complicit in encouraging that and encouraging more wealth extraction out of the country, which is what prompted all the taxation stuff to begin with. So yeah, he absolutely needs calling out. He is not blameless in all this. He is complicit. He might not directly be involved in that stuff, but he is part of an apparatus, a part of an entire institution that is built for wealth extraction as a member of the Roman Catholic Church. So, yeah, that's where we're putting him. Speaking of the Roman Catholic Church, though, we got Judge Claude Frollo. Would I say he did nothing wrong? I would not say he did nothing wrong. Would I say that he is the Shinji Mato of the Disney canon? Yes, I would say. I would not say he is quite that bad, but I would say he would be there if he could, if he would be there if he wanted to be. He would find a way to he is the type of person who can justify any sort of twisted idea in his head. And I think it's appropriate that he is the first kill them with fire on the list, because Frollo is just plain awful. Like, you can't really justify any Frollo's actions. Like, he completely self-rationalizes. He twists everything to fit his own aims. He is racist. He is biased. He is fanatic. Like, I mean, even like I just went on about the Roman Catholic Church, but he is more evil than the church in that movie. Like, the church or he manages to make them look like the good guys. So, if an institution like that is being made out to look like the good guys because someone is that much worse by comparison, then yeah, he is obviously kill them with fire. Plus, you got the whole musical number of Hellfire, which, while a fantastic musical number, is, yeah. Anyway, that's what we've got there for that one. All right, so we are still making our way through this list. We are still making our way through the tiers. So what is up next? What do we have up next on the ranking list? Let's see. We got Goofy. Okay, well, Goofy I would put in as, I can't say did nothing wrong, because Goofy I don't think I can say needs calling out, because he is fairly well intentioned. I think I have to put him as mostly harmless. Like, Goofy mucks up a lot of stuff, but he does it with like him being on on an antagonist list. Like, I kind of put him on here more because, well, let's put all the main Disney cast on here and just see where they lie. But I think Goofy causes a lot of damage through the sake of being well intentioned, and because of that, I am putting him as mostly harmless. All right, the Horned King. Well, Horned King is like pure evil. He's pure evil. I don't remember a lot of the Black Cauldron, honestly, there. It is, like, I have seen it, but it's been a while since I've seen it. I know he was doing all kinds of evil stuff and, trying to take over the kingdom and stuff there. He's a fun design. I think he goes under Endearingly Awful. Ah, this guy, Bellows. Bellows, okay, so Bellows absolutely does not fall under Did Nothing Wrong, because Bellows is a religious bigot. Bellows is a religious bigot who rises to power with the aim of wiping out the entire population of the place that he's taken over. Like, this guy is just pure evil. You can't really justify Bellows' actions at all. Like, Bellows is just horrible. Bellows is awful. So you know what? With that said, we are going to we're gonna bring Bellows into let's see. Let's put him under. He's not even kind of ruined everything. Like, he absolutely constructed an entire system to control people with the intent of when he got to his final goals, using that system to then murder everybody who was a slave to the system that he'd created. Like, he is a piece of work. Bellows is a huge piece of work. So let's let's finish ranking this stuff. I'm just checking something here. Hold up. I am just checking something really quickly. All right, so Bellows, I think we need to put him under, or kill him with fire because he is just horrible. I can't really defend Bellows. Like, he is awful. He is awful. He takes things way too far. He is not like he's not a proper fun villain. He is just a horrible human being. And I say human being literally too. Like, he is a horrible human being. Like, he is horrible. He rationalized, like, yeah, like he found a place that was different and just, it embodied the worst of colonialist attitudes. He is awful. All right, next up we have Bill Sykes. Bill Sykes from Oliver and Company. Well, he's a loan shark. I mean, what is there to say about him? He's a loan shark who was, like, we don't really see a lot of what he does other than the fact that he is, that Fagin is in deep to him in the film. And he is willing to kidnap children. And actually, you know what? The willing to kidnap children is actually kind of awful. He also kind of ruined everything because he's responsible for, like, he almost screws over Oliver and everything like that. So I think we probably do have to put him under kind of ruined everything. Um, So let's see. Where's Sykes on my list here? Sykes is there. So let's put him under kind of ruined everything because he kind of makes everything worse. It's hard for me to justify him. All right, so so next up we have an inclusion from the Disney Santa Claus films. We have Jack Frost as played by Martin Short, and you know what? Like, it's a Martin Short character. Martin Short, like Santa Claus 3. He is a great villain. He is a fantastic villain because let me sum this up. He is one of those antagonists who just, I mean, they cast Martin Short because Martin Short is like is theatrical as hell. Like, that man can overact. That man can just embody characters and just be completely out there. And that's what I love about him as an actor. But yeah, so he comes up with he is upset about the fact that he is slighted by the fact that as a holiday figure he is someone who is being forgotten, and he decides to go about doing something about that, about doing something about his lack of recognition. And how does he do that? Well, as soon as he finds out that there was a loophole in the Santa Claus agreement there that would let him steal that, he manipulates and engineers an entire situation in order to let himself steal the power of Santa Claus so that he can then rewrite not just take the power, but rewrite time so that he's had this power for several decades. Like, that is diabolical right there. Jack Frost is a friggin' diabolical menace. And then he commercializes Santa Claus too. Like, he turns the North Pole into a theme park. He is a proper theatrically evil villain. He even has a musical number. I'm not going to say did nothing wrong because he absolutely did stuff wrong. I mean, it was against Tim Allen, so I mean, on the one hand, but he still wasn't good for Christmas. But he definitely is endearingly awful. He is a lot of fun. He is a fun villain. All right, so let's keep going through this list. Let's keep ranking antagonists. Jafar. Well, Jafar. Where to begin with Jafar? Well, let's look at things. Let's look at things through an alternate lens here. He is the advisor of a kingdom. It is a kingdom that is run by a sultan who is a very weak-willed man. That man is not a very effective ruler to the point where, like, his main advisor is literally mind controlling him and running the kingdom through a shadow. And he has to deal with a princess who doesn't actually know what she's doing and who thinks that she should have all the freedoms and none of the responsibilities. And then he is meanwhile trying to seek out the power of a cave there so that he can gain more power. They never make it clear in the actual film what Jafar's aims are in seeking that power. I suppose maybe he wants to make himself the Sultan. I don't know. It's not really all that clear. Yeah, it's not the clearest what Jafar's aims is here. But you know what? I don't think that I'll point out that as soon as he recognized that there was a potential threat to the kingdom there, and also I'll point out there too that he also does the kingdom a favor there, because Aladdin, there's a street urchin there who is attempting to get away with the princess there. He arrests him, he locks him up, he uses him in order to obtain power that can be used to further the goals of the kingdom. Run by him, yes, but I mean, you've seen the Sultan. Do you really think the Sultan would be a better ruler than Jafar? I say no. I say Jafar would be a superior ruler. And yeah, and he puts himself in charge. We never really get a look at what his reign would actually involve. For the people of Agrabah, there's an implication that nothing would actually really change all that much for them. So you can't really say he is more evil than the current power establishment. So you know what? I'm going to put Jafar under. Do I want him under did nothing wrong or mostly harmless? I don't know. I don't know. Is he? I don't know where to put Jafar here. I am tempted to say he did nothing wrong because ultimately, because ultimately a lot of his actions there, he really ramps up all of his actions after Aladdin gets him fired and arrested. A street rat is muscling in. And Jafar doesn't make any, Jafar's controlling the Sultan up until that point, yes, but Jafar isn't making any overt attempts to take over the kingdom. It's not until he actually gets booted from his job that he actually makes the full bid for ultimate power. And we never really get a sense that what he wanted to do was actually evil. We just don't get a sense of any of that. All right, Captain Barbossa from Pirates of the Caribbean. Okay, so here's someone who I definitely have to put on the did nothing wrong tier, I think. Barbossa is just a lot of fun as a character there. He's a pirate. That means that he refuses the imperial rule of London. Um, it's colonial London, so rebelling against the king, that puts him in the good books. That puts him in the good, did nothing wrong just to start. The fact that he is a pirate in that era there and pushing against England. And then of course there's the fact that he gets his yeah, he steals a bunch, he plunders a bunch of treasure that I should point out that they didn't actually take from anyone living. They took treasure that they didn't know was cursed. So the big treasure that is the center point of the Pirates of the Caribbean was, well, that was treasure that was not hurting anybody until they actually tried to take it. He also kicked out Jack Sparrow from his pirate organization, and I'm sorry, but have you seen Johnny Depp? I mean, it's Jack Sparrow. That was a justified move. And then he was also involved in, freeing the Force Calypso. Again, Barbossa did nothing wrong. Barbossa is a hero, not a villain. I can't really stress that enough. Jeffrey Katzenberg, everyone, and I have opinions about this. Yes, I put Jeffrey Katzenberg in this thing. And Jeffrey Katzenberg is responsible in large part for the state, for some of the worst excesses of the state of animation today. Jeffrey Katzenberg is what is screwed over Robin Williams when they were doing Aladdin. Jeffrey Katzenberg left in his leaving of Disney, left in such a way that he went on to the next studio he was at and essentially made a movie that was a massive temper tantrum at his former boss. Jeffrey Katzenberg also did that QB platform there, which kind of bombed. Katzenberg is kind of awful. Katzenberg, I will put him under the kill him with fire tier. Katzenberg, I think, has been not very good for animation in general. Yeah, just because you were at the studio that made Shrek doesn't mean that. Yes, Shrek is a classic now, but Shrek still is a movie that exists because you got so petty about your former studio and former boss that you made an entire movie to vent about how petty you were about it. All right, John Smith. So, what's to say about John Smith? Well, first of all, he's Mel Gibson. That's 1 point against him. Second of all, the historical John Smith, also a point against him. John Smith, as we know from the historical record, Pocahontas was still a teenager when he took her, so there's the consent stuff right there as well too, and taking advantage of somebody. Like the movie portrays him in a better light. Don't get me wrong, in a more heroic light. But you know what? He is still a colonial Englishman who is coming over and thinks he knows better. At least, and yes, he does learn a little bit as stuff goes on. But you know what? I still think he. I don't think he can be quite kind of ruined everything tier, but I think he absolutely is needs calling out tier as far as antagonists go. All right, Doris. We have Doris now from Meet the Robinsons. And I'm actually surprised that she's up here first. But Doris is a sentient bowler cap there that was a discarded invention, and that got mad about the fact that she was discarded there, and enacted an entire revenge plan in order to wipe out her creator and like create a new timeline where she just took over and ruled everyone via mind control hats. Doris is pretty awful. Doris is absolutely not in the did nothing wrong because her response to being discarded was, I'm going to just take over the entire world. And that's probably why Doris got discarded in the first place, because egomaniacal robot. And definitely not mostly harmless. Um, and almost undid the timeline. Almost undid the timeline. So you know what? And rewrote everything into a worse future for mankind. So you know what? I think we have to put Doris in a kind of ruined everything. I mean, she is endearingly awful, don't get me wrong. Like, it's a solid villain, but yeah, kind of ruined everything feels like the best place for Doris. All right, next up we have Judge Doom. Judge Doom is played by Christopher Lloyd in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And Judge Doom is a character that, secret tune who became judge, very corrupt individual, and had an entire insane criminal plot of, buying up all of the bus companies in LA there, and yeah, buying up all the bus lines, closing the cable cars. Well, the cable cars more specifically, closing them down, and all, and he wanted to destroy Toontown so he could put in a freeway and promote the automobile. And his plan sounds like a completely ridiculous cartoon thing, except it is a thing that actually happened. As such, he is one of the more realistic villains on this list because his evil plan actually was a real life plan that succeeded, just minus cartoons. I cannot put him on Did Nothing Wrong because he absolutely made the world worse. I would say endearingly awful because he is a fun character, but you know what? Judge Doom is also responsible for, in part, his schemes and plots are part of the reason why we are in the state we are today. So I think he kind of goes on kind of ruined everything just because of that. Plus, he also killed Eddie Valiant's brothers. There's that too. All right, what else we got? What else we got here? All right, we got Jumba next. Jumba, the creator of Experiment 626, Stitch, a self-styled evil genius. I mean, he honestly, like, Jumba. Did Jumba really do anything wrong? I mean, he took money from someone to make experiments there. He's one of those guys who is more concerned with the actual science than the ethics behind the science. Like for him, the ethics are like ethics schmethics, and he is the type of person who just loves calling himself an evil genius. Probably for the street cred, because let's be honest, the street cred of an evil genius is just pretty strong. Let's see. So with that in mind, I think Jumba, I'm gonna put him under mostly harmless because he is mostly harmless. Fact still remains that he did work for some villains and took their money, and did make a few like experiments that were not really meant to be redeemable, and like the fact that everything worked out was kind of like a happy accident. But yeah, I think I'll put Jumba under mostly harmless. That feels like the most appropriate place to put him. All right, King Triton, Poseidon himself. Okay, so one, he is a very restrictive father. He is the ruler of the seas. He is a monarch. Um, where do we put him here? I think that the biggest thing you could argue he did nothing wrong, except here's the thing with Triton there. Triton's response to finding out that his daughter was a collector was to destroy her entire collection and drive her away. And as a toy collector, as someone who understands the collector mindset there, who understands like Ariel and her obsession with curios from another world and just all this stuff there. I'm sorry, but like he committed an unforgivable sin. He committed an unforgivable sin of trashing someone's collectibles, and as such, he goes into the kill them with fire category purely because of that, and no other reason. It's entirely because of that he goes there. All right, so experiment 625, Ruben, as he's named in the Lilo and Stitch in the finale for the animated series. He is a recurring character in the animated series. Not really like much of a villain per se. Like his whole thing is he makes sandwiches. That's kind of the main thing he does all the time. Just laces around and makes sandwiches. And he's voiced by Rob Paulson, so he's a fun little character, fun little guy. But you know what? He's kind of just well, I mean, he straight up did nothing wrong. Like he's not really evil or anything like that. Like he's too. The thing is that he's too lazy to be evil. That's ultimately what it is. He has all the abilities of Stitch, but he's lazy. So he doesn't actually do anything wrong. As such, he is absolutely did nothing wrong. All right, from the rescuers, we have Madame Medusa. Madame Medusa, who abducts a child. Why does she abduct a child again? Was it for a ransom, or I'm just trying to remember now. Did she ransom a child, or did I think she was ransoming Penny? I can't remember now. But yeah, she just lives out in the middle of nowhere. Has a couple of pet alligators there. She is kind of just like a fairly awful character. Um, hmm. I'm just trying to decide where to put her in here. Because I don't think she's really a. She's definitely not a did nothing wrong. And she's definitely not mostly harmless because she definitely does harm. It's been a while since I've seen the Rescuers too. Like I haven't seen it since I was a kid thinking about it. Maybe a young adult, but she is kind of an awful villain though, and she sets the entire story in motion. Um, I think at worst I can put her in as she's not really endearingly awful. She's just kind of awful. So I think she kind of falls in the needs calling out. All right, next up we have Clayton from Tarzan. Clayton, as voiced by Patrick Stewart, if I remember correctly, he is the hunter that is part of the expedition there, and he's the guy who dies like horribly in vines, like not the short-lived social media network, but yeah, like actual jungle vines. So Clayton here, Clayton, I would describe as how would I describe Clayton? I mean, like he just wants to shoot a gorilla. He wants to shoot and capture gorillas. That's kind of his main objective there. He wants to like capture the gorillas and like and put them on tour and exploit them and make a whole bunch of money. He is kind of awful. Um, he is full on colonial. He is like just makes everything worse. You know what? I think I'm gonna put him under kill them with fire because of just the animal cruelty aspect. Like that feels like the only place you can really put Clayton. Yeah. All right, Maleficent. Okay, so I'm gonna ignore any of the Angelina Jolie stuff here, but I'm going to point out that Maleficent did absolutely nothing wrong in this situation. Maleficent was not invited, and as I understand it, that is in of itself a massive slight of the time because she showed up. Um, she hadn't given a gift or anything like that. She showed up. She didn't get an invitation. And in that time, like considering her social status, to not invite her would have been a massive, massive slight. That would have been a bit of an offense to just like not welcome her to a big event like that. Like even with your enemies, like you don't say no to your enemies from an event like that, especially because she was very civil when she showed up too. Like And odds are she probably would have wanted to, one up, as people have pointed out, like in other analyses, Maleficent is the type where if they hadn't gone and antagonized her, she probably would have given like Aurora the best gift. She probably would have given her like the most awesome gift just to one up all the other fairies. Just to go, okay, you think you guys are great? Well, I'm gonna do one better than you, and then you guys are all going to and then you guys are gonna just hate me even more because I just made you all look like chumps. Like she probably would have played that card there, but no, they had to go and antagonize her, and because of that, they screwed over the kingdom. Maleficent, yeah, Maleficent did nothing wrong. It's as simple as that. Okay, we got another one from Disney's Fillmore. We got O'Farrell there. Was it O'Farrell his name? Just trying to remember this here. For the cop there. I'm just double checking this here. Yeah, it's Danny O'Farrell, like in Fillmore. Yes. But yeah. Oh, did that by accident. So O'Farrell, I have to say, he is the most incompetent of all the cops. Like he is very much. He is kind of a bit of a klutz. He is not that useful. He kind of gets in the way. Plus, he's also a student cop. As such, I definitely think he is definitely on the needs calling out tier. Zeus. Okay, so Zeus. Now you might be wondering why Zeus is on here. Because Zeus seems to be fairly genial and stuff in the actual film. In the actual film, Zeus seems to be a fairly genial guy who doesn't really seem to do anything that negative or anything like that. But here's the thing: Zeus is also the one who locked away the Titans. What else? He married his sister. He antagonized and bullied Hades to the point where Hades decided to overthrow his brother. Um, and that's before you get into all the actual Greek mythology stuff that Zeus did there. Um, Zeus is ultimately like the kind of ruined everything of the Disney canon. That well, just the Greek canon in general. Zeus is the one who's responsible for like a lot of the problems. So Zeus definitely goes and kind of ruined everything. What else? Master Control Program from Tron. So, not to be confused with Moses from South Park. So the Master Control Program from Tron, it is. I will say the Master MCP did nothing wrong. The MCP acted as designed. It was programmed to do what it was supposed to do. It was not evil in the sense that it was executing everything that it was being instructed to do from on high. It is not the villain. It is an antagonist, but it is not evil, and as such, it did nothing wrong. All right, what else we got here? We got the mascot himself. We got Mickey Mouse. We got the little shit stirrer himself. It's Mickey, and Mickey is definitely, yeah. Mickey is not a good person. What can I say? Mickey is not that good of a person. Mickey Mouse is definitely not did nothing wrong. He's a scamp. He is a corporate stooge as well. And Mickey is a symbol of Disney, and as such, he is also a symbol of all the evil Disney has done as a company. And as such, we kind of have to put Mickey under kind of ruined everything. Mickey is also an attempt, most notably, to dodge IP issues there involving Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, because I mean Walt did get screwed over on the IP stuff there with Oswald, but and then created Mickey as a dodge in order to just go, well, I'll just create a new animal instead. But I mean, like even in his first short, Mickey is kind of awful in his original short. Mickey's an awful person, and as the symbol of Disney, he also is associated with everything awful Disney has done. So he absolutely goes under kind of ruined everything. All right. You might be wondering why I have Bianca here from the Rescue Aid Society, from the Rescuers. Why do I have her on this list here? How am I going to justify her being an antagonist of some kind? Well, that is a simple reason, because she is clearly a wealthy foreigner of some kind there who is like fairly well off. Yes, there is the whole well-meaning mission of the Rescue Aid Society there in terms of for helping people. So you could argue, okay, so she is well-meaning in that sense, but she's stuck up. She's a little bit snooty. I don't think she's necessarily that evil or anything like that, but she's. I think she definitely does need to get called out a little bit because, yeah, she is. What is there? What else is there to say about her? Yeah, she needs a little bit of calling out because even though she is well-meaning there, she is still like an elitist upper class, and that is going to color all of her decisions there. She is inherently, has class issues there. So yeah, it needs calling out because of her social status. Like by virtue of being like some sort of aristocrat, like she is going to be treading over like people to a certain extent. All right, we got this guy. We got Mufasa. We got Mufasa here, who, well, what is there to call out about Mufasa? I mean, like, he is a monarch of the kingdom there. He eats the antelope. He oppresses the hyenas. I mean, the hyenas don't really get that much there. The hyenas are kind of patsies. I will be honest. Um, like when I was making this list, I was debating like I wasn't sure like how I was going to be ranking people. I was like improvising. Like I wasn't sure what tack I was going to take with this ranking list. So Mufasa is probably in. I think Mufasa is probably in mostly harmless because like yeah, his brother was not a very good ruler anyway, and probably shouldn't have like assassinated his brother. I think we probably have to put Mufasa in mostly harmless. But hey, I'm putting both Disney heroes and villains in this list, so yeah, you gotta rank everyone. All right, next up we have the Emperor of China from Mulan. No, I don't have Shan Yu in this list actually, but the Emperor as head of an entire imperial apparatus there that is meant to exalt himself. And yes, he is the invaded party in the film, but he is still very much the party that is, representative. Well, he's an unelected leader. He is a hereditary despot. Um, as such, that definitely requires calling out of some kind because the emperor he's not a good person. Plus, also, there's all the stuff there with regards to Mulan 2 and him setting in motion stuff in Mulan 2, and I hate Mulan 2 with a passion. So as soon as I spot his thing here, where is it? Where's the Emperor's thing? I can't find it right now. Why can I not find the Emperor's icon? I mean, just the fact he's an Emperor kind of says it all. Like, it's not like he earned his power in any sort of way or anything like that. Like, he was just born into it and just continued to oppress using it. Like, divine right of kings and all that. But yeah, I can't actually spot the Emperor on this. I know he's in the tier list, but I can't actually spot him right now. That's weird. Where is he? Where is he on the tier list here? Let's see. Wow, I really cannot find this. Maybe it didn't get imported onto the tier list, the Emperor here. Nah, I'll keep going through. If I spot him later, I'll put him back on. But all right, next up we have Walt himself, Walt Disney. So where are we putting Disney on this? We're gonna save him for later. Okay, we got Abbas Mal from the Aladdin animated series and from Return of Jafar. Um, he is absolutely mostly harmless because he is an evil villain who facilitates stuff, who is kind of completely useless on his own as a villain. Very incompetent. It's Jason Alexander. He is a fun little villain there. He's not even endearingly awful. He's did nothing wrong because he is absolutely like not a good person. He is not endearingly awful because he is not competent enough to be endearingly awful. But he is absolutely mostly harmless. Negaduck. All right, so Negaduck. I believe this is the Ducktales version of Negaduck there, but Negaduck Negaduck is just endearingly awful. Like he is not a did nothing wrong in any sense. He is like even if we're just using the current Ducktales version, like where he's an actor who kind of went off the deep end there because he got too obsessed with taking his part back and let it go to his head. He is very much endearingly awful. He uses chainsaws. He is just like full on like just psychotic evil version of Darkwing Duck. He is endearingly awful. He is a fun antagonist. All right, so Cassandra from the Tangled animated series. So she is a major antagonist in season 3. She is opposing Rapunzel. She is just as, and I feel I need to go into some spoilers a little bit here because with regards to her backstory, because Cassandra is somebody who was, well, she was completely screwed over by circumstance. Cassandra got entirely screwed over by circumstance there because like her mother was abusive. Yeah, she had an abusive, manipulative mother who didn't care about her own daughter. And then she got raised by love. She got raised, by by a loving family, thankfully, who abducted her from that hostile situation. Thank goodness. And then she got manipulated by evil forces there. She got manipulated and turned evil, and ultimately was kind of doing stuff because she felt like was she felt that she'd been getting slighted and passed over and screwed over, and it was just like a whole bunch of small cuts that eventually just led up to her getting fed up with everything and then being further manipulated. And ultimately she's not really the true villain of the piece. She absolutely did nothing wrong, I would say. She is completely she is a villain who is a victim of circumstance, and as such she absolutely did nothing wrong. All right, next up we have Davy Jones. Davy Jones is, I'm not actually sure where to put him here. I'm just gonna go and grab some drink while I think about this here. Because Davy Jones, Davy Jones ultimately, like, he captains the Flying Dutchman. He's evil. In the end, he is reduced to being a pawn of the actual villain. Um, but he is ultimately still the one who's responsible for betraying Calypso and making the sea safe. I mean, that did make the seas safe for pirates, so that's actually like a good thing there. But he did still he abused the trust that she had given him in his duties there, and evil, and hmm, yeah, like a lot of the stuff that happened in some of those pirates films was directly his own fault because he was the one who screwed things over. He has absolutely not did nothing wrong. Um, he is, I think we kind of have to put him under like kind of ruined everything because him betraying Calypso kind of set a lot of stuff into motion. What else? What else we got here for stuff? All right, Peg Leg Pete. I love this guy. Yes, we're using the classic appearance of Pete here. Peg Leg Pete, fantastic, iconic Disney villain, who I will point out did nothing wrong in the original. Pete in the original Steamboat Willie cartoon, he is Mickey's boss, who, yeah, he is yelling at Mickey, but Mickey is also like a horrible employee. Pete is entirely justified in his punishing of Mickey. And Pete all throughout stuff, Pete is very much like a bit of a Pete is very much like the used car salesman type person. He is always scheming. He is doing some evil stuff here and there. Don't get me wrong, he's definitely been more and much more antagonistic in some stuff, some incarnations. But he's not like, he's an awful person, but he's not like an entirely awful person. Hold up, I'm just taking another sip. Let's see, what else? So, yeah, with Pete. With Pete, I definitely think that he should go in which tier? He is probably like a mostly harmless character because he does scheme and stuff like that, but he is mostly harmless. He is mostly harmless as a person, I think. So yeah. What else? What else we got here? Who is next on the list? I'm gonna do like another one or two, and then I need to take a quick bathroom break. We still have like a lot to go through on here. How many have we done? 6:30. Okay, we're not quite at the halfway mark. I've almost gone halfway through. We've got a lot of stuff to do on this list here. We got a lot of villains to go through this list. So, I put a lot on here. All right, next up we have Prince John, who Prince John is absolutely not did nothing wrong. Prince John is absolutely a useless villain. I will say that it does count as mostly harmless because he doesn't kind of ruin everything. He is kind of the glue that is holding England together. To bring up the historical Prince John here, because I feel that's relevant. So the way the Crusade stuff played out there. So you have John, you have his brother Richard, who was king. You have Richard, who decided to go off to the Crusades. Rather than actually run his country, he took the treasury with him and ran off. And he took the treasury, he ran off, and then he proceeded to go and do fight a religious war and lose the religious war and then get ransomed on the way home. And this is all actual historical backstory to Richard. And left his brother in charge. And yeah, you know what costs a lot of money? You know what? Has anyone ever considered though that John is like getting all the money and stuff there, but like his brother is incompetent enough to get ransomed, and John had to get the money to pay the ransom somehow. Like that money had to come from there wasn't anything in the treasury because like Richard spent it all on a religious war. So yeah, John is mostly harmless. John is an ineffective leader. He is very much a wet blanket type leader in the actual film there, and it's very much an emblematic metaphor that the crown doesn't fit him. That's a very deliberate metaphor there. It's kind of a fantastic character design he has, honestly. But yeah, ultimately, I do think though that that's an important thing though. That John is mostly harmless because he is ultimately the lesser evil. Plus, also without John trying to make trying to run things, we also don't get the Magna Carta. So yes, he was on the losing side of that, but that is also why we have like the foundation for a lot of law these days. Okay, so what else we got here? Let's see what else. All right, next up we got one of my favorites. We got Ratigan. Ratigan, who Ratigan is like a great criminal mastermind, very theatrical. Vincent Price, great musical numbers. Willing to stoop to like whatever low, like kidnapping children in order to achieve his aims. He's a piece of work. He is a piece of work. He's absolutely did nothing wrong. He is absolutely not mostly harmless. He is incredibly harmful. But he is endearingly awful. He is just like pure charisma. Like you can't really hate Ratigan. Ratigan is just such a fun villain. He is such a very, very fun villain. I can't really hate him. So yeah, we're gonna put him there. We're gonna put Ratigan over there on that ranking there, and we are going to. I'm just gonna take a really quick break. I need to pop to the washroom, and when we return, we are going to get back to this tier list here, and keep going. All right, and we are back here. We are back, and we're going to keep going on this stuff here. We're going to keep going on the antagonist analysis. So, with that said, we got a lot of Disney antagonists ranked already. The list is getting cut off at the top, as you can see, which kind of sucks. But we got a lot of villains here who did nothing wrong, and that's why. I'm just going to start dragging some of the other ones over. Let's start dragging them to the other side there just so you can actually see them. Let's bring some of the more recent ones in here so that way you can actually see who's on that list. All right, so let's keep going. We got a lot to get through still. Okay, we got this guy. We got Aladdin. And you know what? Aladdin doesn't come across initially as I mean, you get that whole justification he has of having to steal to eat and survive, but he is still ultimately throwing out the social contract that we all abide by. He is ignoring those rules. He is causing all kinds of property damage in being pursued by the guards. We see no indication that Aladdin has done anything to try and better himself, to try and do anything other than steal as a career. He didn't. He probably could have it might not have been the best life, but he could have joined the army. He could have probably there's things he could have done. They take enlisted men and those types of stuff. That would have given him some benefits. And he is clearly a very smart thinker. So he probably would have done quite well in the any sort of situation there, which would have required him to think on his feet and be clever. He lucked into everything there. He essentially wormed his way into a monarchic dynasty, and yeah, that's a thing to say there about Aladdin. What else is there to say? Oh, I went back by accident. Yeah, so Aladdin there. I think that we just have to put him in the needs calling out because Aladdin is not as pristine as he presents, and that is why we've got that entire needs calling out tier there to begin with, because some of these characters do need calling out. All right, so let's keep going. Let's keep going here. All right, next up we have Elsa. Anna from Frozen. Why is Anna on this list, you might ask? Well, there's a very good reason I've got Anna on this list, and that's because she is very much the what is the reason she's on this list? Well, I think it's because she needs some level of getting called out there, because it's like, while she is well-meaning and all that, and she tries to help her sister and everything like that, don't get me wrong, she's also hopelessly naive. You have the whole thing in Frozen 2, the whole some things never change stuff there, where, she doesn't want things to change, she wants things to stay the same. She very much is, and again, she is, the monarch of a society there that very much is propped up, dynastically speaking. By virtue of being like a heiress there in that sense, I mean, like her hands are not clean. At the very least, she does need calling out, even though she's not like particularly evil or anything like that. She is still she is still up there. I'm struggling to think of stuff here. All right, Bagheera. Okay, I've got Bagheera on this list. Yes, I put Bagheera on here from Jungle Book, and that is because Bagheera is, well, he tried to take, Mowgli back. There's a whole thing of, it's like, oh, Bagheera took Mowgli back out of the jungle there to man and stuff like that to try and help him from Shere Khan, save him from Shere Khan and all that stuff. And that all sounds noble and altruistic on the surface, yes, but he also still tore Mowgli away from the only family he knew in the service of bringing him back to humans. And ultimately the Bagheera, he's well-meaning. He is well-meaning in that, don't get me wrong, but he probably sealed the fate of everyone in the jungle in those actions, because he took a kid who could understand animals, who could empathize with animals and stuff like that, and he brought him back to a country which at the time would have probably prized those elements there in order and exploited those and molded Mowgli into someone who would then be able to act against the jungle and take things over. So Bagheera, well-meaning, Well-meaning, but he does need some calling out because he probably sealed the fate of a lot of people in the Jungle Book by virtue of his actions. Yeah, that is me. That is me rationalizing things because it is fun to be silly and rationalize things. All right, I'm just trying to see if I can get this window. Let's see. Oh, I think it's just like I'm cutting off too much on the top here. Okay, but all right. So next up we have Belle. And you might be wondering, okay, so how is Belle classified like on my antagonist list? Well, I'm sorry, but that is entirely based off of Belle in the first act of the film. Well, Belle is also later on in the film, Belle is the type who snoops. Like she goes where she ignores in direct instructions. She goes places where she shouldn't have gone. Um, yeah, so she kind of like disrupts everything there. She's a force of chaos. But there is also the thing that bugs me about Belle is honestly like that first act of the film. That first act of the film, like her initial musical number and stuff there, because of how full of herself she is. She is very much somebody who is like, there is a reason that nobody likes her, and that's because she's so full of herself and she is an incredibly pretentious person. She is she is the type of person that's like, I am better than all of these peasants. Like that is the attitude that she gives off in that initial musical number. She's like, I'm better than all of you. You're all lesser because I can read, so I am automatically just so much better than all of you people. Like you guys are all like you are all small people. The town hero, oh, he's beneath me. Like even though realistically, like he is like the best sort of prospect that she would be able to get in that town. Unless she moved somewhere else. But again, this is like France's time of thing. But yeah. Also, I will point out too that she does marry into a monarchy and restores him from his self-imposed exile, the Beast. As such, she is directly responsible for more monarchic oppression. And for suddenly, like I imagine that the surrounding townsfolk are going to have to start paying their taxes again there to this local feudal lord, because like feudal lordships, those don't run for free. They just got a tax holiday for several decades there on not having to pay any of that stuff. They were free for several. They were fairly free for probably a couple of decades or so, and now they're not. So she has doomed all of these people to having to like pay tithes to the local lord again. She has actively hurt the town through her actions in freeing the beast, and she will rightfully suffer the consequences when the French Revolution happens. Oh, I didn't put Belle in the thing, right? Let's see. So I'm gonna put on her kind of ruined everything because she kind of did. Anyway, next up we have the mayor's aide. I can't remember her name there from. Oh, she's a piece of work from Zootopia. She is absolutely a piece of work. She is kind of awful. What's there to say about her? Um, yeah, what is there to say about her? So she essentially is, like just she is manipulating carnivores. She is taking a society that has gotten fairly peaceful. Like it's like it's got like still like the carnivores in positions of power. They're herbivores in less positions of power. And that's maybe not great, but she actively stokes up fears and she actively creates a situation that destabilizes the social order, all for her own self-aggrandizement and power. She abuses the public trust in the position that she's in, and she actively makes things worse for everybody. And she gives people reason to not trust herbivores and to crack down on them, and just for things to be worse. So she absolutely is going to be on a kind of ruined everything tier. Okay, we got Captain Hook next, and Captain Hook. You know what? Honestly, he did nothing wrong. He is a pirate in Neverland, and he has to deal with children who annoy him. Yeah, really. About the only thing really that Captain Hook did, I suppose, was I guess there's the whole bit where in the Peter Pan direct-to-video sequel where he abducts Jane's daughter. I guess there's that in terms of like things that Captain Hook did, but ultimately at the end of the day, Captain Hook is not that bad of a it's like he's antagonized by children, and that constantly bug him, that constantly harass him, and he acts out like someone eventually would when they keep going through these patterns year after year after year after year. So you know what, Hook is we don't actually see like reasons to think that Hook is super evil. We're just told that. And besides the point, that pirates are all about liberty. They're all about freedom. They are all about breaking free from oppressive shackles. If anything, Peter Pan and Hook should have been comrades. The fact they're not raises questions about Pan. And so I think ultimately we do have to put Hook under the mostly harmless tier. Because he does do a few awful things here and there, but he's mostly harmless. Hook is mostly harmless. So, all right, next up we have Clopin from Hunchback of Notre Dame. Clopin. When I was making this list, I figured I'd throw him on here. I wasn't sure where he would end up from a tier standpoint. But Clopin, as he's portrayed in the film. Okay, taking a sip. Hold up. Okay, yeah. As Clopin is portrayed in the actual film itself, I don't think that Clopin really did that much wrong, honestly. I think that Clopin is somebody who, he is very protective of his people. He plays the fool while he is actually like a lot smarter than he lets on. So he is kind of like, he's very much wearing a mask all throughout. He is keeping his people safe. He takes a very rational approach of going after the cops when the cops try and bust him and his people there. Again, like like the approach of we're gonna kill these guys, like that makes sense because it's the captain of the police there or whatever there who is like raiding his little location. He can't he can't take any chances there. It's very rational. If he lets the guy go, they're gonna come by and they're gonna arrest him for all he knows. He can't trust these guys. He can't trust cops. So Clopin is definitely in the did nothing wrong tier. Absolutely. All right, what else we got here? We got Cruella de Vil. All right, so Cruella obviously is evil. Like you can't really get around that. There's nothing redeemable about Cruella, and that's her charm. She is she is endearingly awful though. Cruella is a fun villain. She is a horrible person. She is a lot of fun as an antagonist though. She is, she wants to kill a bunch of puppies. That should make her killer by fire, honestly. But you know what? I don't think in this case it does. I think in this case, Cruella, she is just a fun, endearingly awful character. So we're gonna put Cruella in the endearingly awful category here. We're slowly making our way through this tier list. I've got a lot to go through. Okay, Draken. Okay. So Draken is like he is definitely like someone I would consider mostly harmless as a villain there. Like he does a lot of evil schemes, a lot of world domination plots. I mean, they got foiled. Some of his schemes are pretty good though. I will be honest. Like there's all the stuff in the Kim Possible movie. Um, but yeah, I think Draken though. Honestly, Draken is definitely like someone I put under like mostly harmless because he's just a lot of fun as a villain there. Like yeah, again, he does have some good schemes here and there, but yeah, I think I'm gonna put him under mostly harmless. All right, what else we got? Who else do we have in terms of characters? We got Dr. Hemsterville from Lilo and Stitch from the animated series. He is the financial backer of Jumba, and he is the one who wants to use the experiments to do evil. I think he spends a lot of I think if I remember, I think he breaks out of jail at the beginning of the TV series, and then like operates from behind the shadows. But yeah, he looks like he is evil. He has an H. You know what I'm just trying to decide where I'm putting him here. I think he's kind of in bit of in the endearingly awful thing because again, he is like this just he's a hamster with an accent, evil hamster with an accent there who has rabbit ears and who wears a giant H on his collar there and a cape and like look, I can't really honestly as far as antagonists, I can't really fault him all that much. He's just a fun little antagonist. I don't think I can go too hard on him. I think he falls into the endearingly awful tier. Like he's definitely not mostly harmless. He is definitely like actively trying to incite harm like most of the time he shows up. But yeah, yeah, he's definitely like in the endearingly awful category. All right, let's see the what's his name? Like LaBeouf there from Princess and the Frog. So he is on here as well, and you know what? I think that we need. I think he needs to calling out here. I think he absolutely needs calling out because I'm not convinced that this dude like he is a rich white landowner in New Orleans in the 1920s. There is no way that he's not some sort of like patronizing racist. Like just considering his social position and standing and stuff like that. Yeah, I am very sus of this character there. He presents all this charm and stuff, but like yeah, no, he made his money. Let's be honest. I think we all know that he probably didn't make his money through ethical means. Like when I say ethical means, mind you, I mean like as in like yeah, his family probably owned slaves and all that sort of stuff. They're like probably plantation and stuff there. He would have supported the South in the Civil War if he'd been alive then. Like yeah, no, he is. I mean, he is presented as supportive, but he also does absolutely. I think it's important to note too that he also does absolutely nothing to help Tiana out. Like when Tiana needs financial help, like he very easily has the money that he could have backed her. Like he's got the money to throw at his own daughter, and his own spoiled daughter. But instead, he doesn't do anything to actually help Tiana, even though he knows her cooking is good and stuff like that. He does absolutely nothing to help her on her get on her own 2 feet and have her dreams of starting a restaurant. So he is absolutely not a good person. Um, yeah, he exploits her. He very much exploits her. And where is he on my tier list? Why can't I not spot him here? Yeah. Did it not import some characters onto the tier list? Because I know he is. I know he's in the folder. Why can't I not find him? I'm just trying to find him now. Let's see. Click here to add images. Eh, I thought I had him on here. Oh, he is on the list. Okay. All right. Let's go back. Yeah, he is on the list. Okay, so why can I not spot him? He's definitely on the list, though. Maybe I need to adjust the aspect ratio here, or let's see. Why can I not spot this guy? Because I can see I put him on the list. But I can't spot him right now, like to my own eyes. Huh. Okay. Oh, I put him on here already. That's why needs calling out. Okay. Yeah, needs calling out is probably the best place to put him. So I did put him on there already. Okay, good. All right. I just forgot that. Okay, moving on. Major Monogram. Okay, so Major Monogram. You would think that he would. You might question why he is here. Well, I'm going to point out that he runs an organization that that trains and exploits animals. So you got the animal abuse aspect there, and uses them in order to fight innocent pharmacists and undermine their schemes. Monogram is absolutely yeah, Monogram is the one who keeps you have the whole thing of like yeah, he like they foil Doofenshmirtz because of his antics and stuff like that. But my counterpoint would be that well, one, Monogram exploits unpaid internships. Like Carl, like he exploits Carl as a resource. So that's not good. That's not a good thing at all. Hmm. What else? He exploits Carl. But also the fact that he also is the one that he's also profiting immensely from Doofenshmirtz's constant schemes in order to try and take over the tri-state area because that's probably fueling his budget right there. Just the fact that he's got all these evil dictators again, like he's using trained animals, he's not paying people. This is like the equivalent of using AI art in order to instead of real art. Like he's using unpaid agents there in order to actually save the day. So he is not putting anything into the economy there. He is full on taking jobs away from people. Um, yeah, so he needs calling out. I don't think he ruined everything, but he absolutely does need calling out, Monogram. All right, next up, Gaston. All right, Gaston. I would be tempted to put him on endearingly awful because he does do his scheming and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, but from the standpoint of Gaston, like he is the town. He is he comes on a bell fairly strong. Don't get me wrong, but look at it this way: he is also in his mind. Gaston sees it as that he is helping Belle. He doesn't see what he is doing as wrong. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying that Gaston is in the right here. I'm absolutely not saying that. Gaston is, in fact, a bit of a massive misogynist, and that sucks. Um, he's awful in that sense, but his intentions with Belle are high-minded. He thinks that he's doing her some good by having her hook up with like the town hero that everybody in town loves. Like, it's important to remember, Gaston's not like seen as an antagonist by the town. Like, the town loves the guy. He's the town hero. They think he's the greatest. And his response to seeing that, there's like this beast living in the woods there, he dismisses it. Obviously, he dismisses it as the ravings of a lunatic at first. He manipulates stuff in order to get with Belle. So he frames Maurice, puts him in an asylum. There's absolutely some harm there because he is full on maliciously doing that there. But as soon as he finds out that the beast is real, he actually takes the heroic approach of we need to kill this thing because it's a monster that exists outside the town, and yeah, obviously that's not a good thing. The whole he pivots immediately from this crazy guy is just nuts and we're going to exploit it to oh my god, the crazy guy was actually right. We have a genuine threat to our village. We need to do something about this thing. So Gaston I'm going to put in as mostly harmless. Because no one is mostly harmless like Gaston. Alright, so keep going. Let's keep going here. How many do we have left now? Okay, yeah, we still got a few left for, let's see. Alright, next up we have the genie. And you might be asking why the genie is on this. Because, the genie is presented as a hero and a good guy. We never actually see why the genie was imprisoned in the lamp. I'm just going to point that out. We don't know why he's in there. We know he's a prisoner, but we don't know why. We know why Jafar is a prisoner, and Jafar got sealed away. And that was another wish there. But for all we know, we don't. The genie could have been like a horrible person. He could have, and he's got all of his rules about him. Like, are his rules things that are actual limitations of a genie, or are those things that he imposed because he didn't like how things turned out there? Like, what was it? He can't bring people back from the dead. He can't. I think it was can't bring people back from the dead. He can't make people fall in love. And what was the first rule? I'm just trying to remember this now. Oh, can't kill anyone. Okay. But yeah, the can't kill anyone actually does raise questions. Why would you put that restriction on a genie? Is that because the fact that he did a lot of that stuff and this is meant to be a punishment? For all we know, the genie was like a horrible, like a mass murderer and like obsessed with killing people, and this was essentially them putting a punishment on him so he wasn't able to actually do that. Like, yeah, we don't actually know what the story is with the genie there. We know nothing about his backstory. Pooh Bear. Oh, what is Pooh Bear doing there? Oh, I can go into that. So Pooh is there because Pooh is a moocher. Pooh is a moocher who is obsessed with honey, who will try and mooch off his friends, get his friends honey. He will go attack bees. He will disrupt the bees' home. He will take the honey from the bees, and he will overall disrupt. He is an antagonist to the bees there. I've got a whole mix of like just characters here just to change this up. But yeah, the genie. We know absolutely nothing about the genie's backstory, and that should raise some serious questions. So I think there probably is something worth calling out for the genie there because we do not know anything about what his deal is. Also, I hope your evening is going great, Hika. I didn't quite catch your stream. Unfortunately, I didn't know you were going live tonight until this evening. That I had it on in the background, but I couldn't really listen. It looks like it was a lot of fun though. But yeah, also yeah, again, like Hika's the one who made this thing. Hika is awesome. I just like then went the extra mile and rigged all this stuff up just to practice some stuff with PNG Remix. But yeah. And again, like yeah, I'll just show you this here. Like it's fairly fully featured. Like I got that. Hold up, where's the numpad command? Oh, it's this button, right? Yes, we can turn off the airship there. We can bring it back on. We can turn off all the villain accoutrements. We can turn those off, and that's cool. And then of course, yeah, like I can swap out to the angry eyes as well too. And I am setting up another expression. I don't think I have it fully set up yet, but like I've got like just these eyes too. Oh, that sucks. Oh man, that sucks. But yeah, I didn't quite get this one finished here. Like I'm setting up like different eyes for this one, but yeah, it's not quite done this expression here. But yeah. But yeah, Hika's the one who drew this and it was fantastic. Like I've got a lot rigged up on here. Like I've even got the eyes like adjusting based on the mouse movement. But yeah, let's see. So who do we have next after the genie? I've still got a lot to get through. Okay, we got Hades now. Okay, we're on to Hades from Disney's Hercules. And Hades, I'm going to, because I brought in for Greek mythology there, because I brought in Greek mythology on Zeus, I need to bring in Greek mythology on Hades, and point out that Hades is absolutely, of the entire Greek pantheon, Hades is like the least bad of the Greek pantheon. Like none of them are good, don't get me wrong, but Hades is the least horrible of all of them. Like, like even like Athena's a warmongerer, like Aphrodite like caused wars because of her beauty and like full on turned somebody into a spider because like they were more beautiful than her. Um like Zeus has the pedigree. Hera is probably the other closest one that did nothing wrong because she was essentially just going after her husband being awful. But yeah, like Hades is ultimately scheming to to overthrow his brother, release the Titans. Um and just general Hades stuff there in there. Um, I would say did nothing wrong with Hades, except I do need it. I'm kind of torn here because it's like what's going to knock him down a peg actually is like his voice actor because it's like James Woods is fantastic as Hades. James Woods is also kind of a bit of a piece of work. But so it's like I'm putting him under mostly harmless because he also still did try to kill a baby. Like he still told his minions to kill a baby in order to uh, foil his plans. But yeah, Hades is just a lot of fun though. Like yeah, fun villain, fun villain. He teamed up with Jafar once. Okay, next up we have Hans from what you call it from Frozen. And Hans is pretty awful. Hans is pretty awful. Like he full on just exploits. He full on exploits a naive princess. And that's actually another thing I should call her out for her complete naivete. But like he exploits her, and he is trying to use her in order to gain some more power. And it's important to note here too that as a minor prince, this is kind of like the only real route that he has to any sort of political relevance is to marry into a family that is powerful on its own because he's so far down the line of succession. So I mean, so his motives from his own upbringing standpoint, his motives of worm his way into a royal family and is kind of like the only real route that he has for any sort of success in life. Like, yeah, it's kind of a bit weird there. Like he is essentially doing like if you're going off I know that it's funny. I've been completely hypocritical throughout this. Like on the one hand, I've been criticizing characters because they are full on part of a monarchic dynasty. On the other hand, you have characters like Hans who I am not criticizing because he knows the rules of the game for what he is, and he is full on playing by the unwritten rules that suit his position. So, I have a harder time criticizing him there because he is. I mean, I think that I'm going to have to put him into endearingly awful here because he is awful. he is awful. He takes a while to reveal himself in terms of his awfulness. But yeah, he is absolutely just playing the game like of he understands his social status, he understands the position he's in, he fully exploits it to the fullest there and does what he can in order to try and get ahead. So yeah, I mean, hey, ultimately we're just having fun with some antagonistic rankings. So, all right, Water News from Monsters Inc. Okay, this is going to be one I've been debating like where he should go. I have been actively debating where to put Water News. Like as they've been like he was a necessary thing to put in there, and obviously like there's the whole thing of Water News. Water News is ultimately just he's trying to keep his company afloat. There's the whole element there of I mean, like when you look at the whole thing with laughter, for instance, you can't really fault him on the well. They could have just used children's laughter instead of the screams. You can't really fault him there because he didn't know that. Nobody knew that until the events of that movie, and there's enough evidence in the film that there's a question as to whether or not there was an element of that covered up by the government. But Water News had no way of knowing this. He very much was running a company that was struggling more and more to meet up with the energy demands of his city. He was under a lot of pressure as a result there. Like they were having blackouts, if you remember. That's how bad things were. Like there was a full-on energy crisis going on, and he was struggling to just keep up production there. So, like his actions were not well, there's a whole element of he is motivated by like making wealth and shareholders and stuff. There was a genuine energy crisis that they were trying to solve, and he was willing to do whatever it took to solve that. He knew what he was doing was wrong. Obviously, there's a reason he was doing it all in secret, at least to start. But it was the sort of stuff that would have been accepted as necessary evils in order to keep his society running. So Water News, I can't really. I think I'm going to. I think what I'm gonna like. He did some awful stuff, but I think he kind of has to go under did nothing wrong because from his position there, based on the knowledge that he had at the time, he did not actually do anything. He very much had like his society's well-being in mind with all of his actions there. Like even just the whole thing of like just them finding out trying to take out Sully because Sully found out that he was doing all the evil stuff there for that. That was again all motivated on the mindset of yeah, screams weren't doing it anymore. They needed some way to get more energy out of those kids there. And what they were doing, he knew it was illegal, but it was also a case of if they didn't do that, then they were just teetering closer and closer to bankruptcy. They didn't have options. That's where they got their energy from. All right, Mr. Toad. Okay, Mr. Toad is kind of awful. Mr. Toad is like an awful aristocrat there who just spends a lot of money frivolously and gets what he is coming, and because the guy gets in a car accident and goes to jail and stuff and has comeuppance and kind of deserves everything he gets and probably shouldn't have gotten Toad Hall back to begin with because yeah, like I'm sorry, he was a completely negligent aristocrat. So yeah, he's gonna go on the needs calling out list. A lot of people are on needs calling out. It's a pretty long list. It's a pretty long list needs calling out, and we're going to have to like make this a little bit wider. Because yeah, Toad definitely goes there. All right, Judy Hopps. Judy Hopps. She's a cop. That's a point against her. Um, she is also, very judgmental, very, very judgmental as well too. She's antagonizing Nick. I think that she's definitely not mostly harmless or enduring the awful. I think she's probably like on the needs calling out tier here. Because she does try to do the right thing, but she's also still she's still also propping up like dubious organizations. Okay, so I can't remember the guy's name, but the guy who becomes the bear from Brother Bear. Um, yeah, he kind of ruined everything. I think that you can say that without any question. He is absolutely kind of ruined everything because he killed Coda's mom and set everything in motion. Because yeah, he killed Coda's mom. So there's not much else to say about that. because yeah, I mean, he paid penance for that by becoming a bear. He kind of like did that as a penance thing almost there, and took the role of the mother there, you know, by becoming like the surrogate big brother. But he's still the one who created the entire situation to begin with. All right, Kimberly Ann Possible. Yes, she is on this list because she is propping up the world order. She is disrupting everybody who seeks to try and make the world a different place. She is the protagonist to the antagonists. Like she is the you know what? I can't even say that. Like, if I were to use a Venture Brothers analogy here, she's not even like like a Venture Brothers antagonist because she's the one who's actively antagonizing. She's the guild member who's going after all of these scientists and people who are doing all this various stuff. She's often the one proactive one who's trying to stop them. So she's definitely an antagonist. I don't think that it's really a needs calling out tier there because she's a fun character. So I think she does qualify as endearingly awful purely because she is very effective in her aims there of disrupting all of these innocent scientists and villains and industrialists and stopping their plans at world domination. And we don't know if the world would have been a better place under them or not. That's the thing. But yeah, she's very charismatic. She's very endearing. I don't think she really needs calling out. She's kind of fine as is as a character. All right, we got King Louis though here now, and King Louis is in the mostly harmless category. Obviously, that feels like a no-brainer. He is pretty harmless. Um, well, actually, no, no, no. I'm gonna move him into do nothing wrong because King Louis, like, full on is antagonized. Like, his whole aim is he wants Mowgli to teach him how to be a man, how to be human, and teach him how to do fire. Um, we don't really get a sense in the film of what he wants to do with that, other than just you know become more human and stuff like that. And then he gets antagonized and has his entire kingdom like blown up from under him when they try and liberate his guest. So yeah, Louis I definitely would put in the did nothing wrong category here. Plus he's got the really fun musical number. Okay, Lord Hater. Lord Hater, oh, he is a fun character there. I've not seen enough of Wander Over Yonder, but Lord Hater is a fun character. I think Lord Hater kind of has to go under mostly harmless here because yeah, he does all his various. He's often up to like his various like oppressive stuff. Don't get me wrong, and then Wander just stumbles in and screws things up for him, and he just annoys him because Wander wants to be his friend. Um, I mean, Wander I could have put on this list, I suppose, but yeah, no, I think Hater kind of goes under mostly harmless for the most part because he is evil. He's an evil dude, but he's not an evil dude if you know what I mean. Like it's yeah, it. All right, Mark Beeks from the modern Ducktales cartoon. Okay, so Mark Beeks is awful. Like you know what? I think we got another. I think we have another contender for Kill Them with Fire because Mark Beeks is emblematic of like the worst. He's like one of the worst kinds of billionaires. Like Mark Beeks, like he's an entertaining character. Don't get me wrong on the show, but he is also like entertaining because he is the worst. He is, he steals everything and takes credit for it. He doesn't actually invent anything himself. He is just straight up just Mark Zuckerberg, but like let's be honest, DuckTales was still going. They probably would have done a story where like he got into MMA or something like that because of course they would have. Um, yeah, like Mark Beeks is just like horrible. He is awful. Like he doesn't invent anything. He just coasts. He just steals wealth essentially there, and like it's entirely like stolen honor. Like Scrooge and Glomgold at least did something. At least did something with themselves. All right, and next up we have Nick here from like Zootopia again, and Nick I will put on the did nothing wrong because he is very much like a carnivore growing up in a society that is that it's a really you get that really weird dichotomy where it's like carnivores are both at the top of the food chain but also at the bottom of the food chain, and he is very much like discriminated against because of his species, and as such he kind of became what he had to survive. And yeah, because of that, like I'm gonna put Nick under the did nothing wrong. because he's ultimately like a small time scammer there in that sense. All right, so what else we got here? What else we got? Let's see. All right, we have Peter Pan next. All right, so Peter Pan. Well, Peter Pan is kind of awful. Peter Pan is yeah, Peter Pan is a child who like essentially just abducts other children there and brings them to his own kingdom where they will never grow up and they will forget their parents. And he continually fights this pirate, antagonizes and fights this pirate guy who would clearly rather have nothing to do with this child who just keeps getting in his way and who lords over like all these people. Like Peter Pan is just the worst. Peter Pan is kind of awful. And Peter Pan is, he kind of needs to go and needs calling out, I guess. I'm just trying to think there. Yeah, that's probably the best place where to put him because he kind of is responsible for a lot of the problems. All right, next up we got the Queen of Hearts. Off with his head. She's a dynastic monarch who is like abuses her power. Uh, yeah. I don't know where there's the flamingo stuff and everything like that. So you got the animal cruelty. Yeah, I mean, she's kind of just awful. She's kind of like yet another madcap person in there. Um, I don't know if she's even endearingly awful. I'm just trying to think of where to put her in. She's definitely not did nothing wrong though. I don't think so. Well, I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna rethink that because everyone in Wonderland is kind of nuts. So she's not really that much worse than anyone else in Wonderland. She's probably mostly harmless at best because like the off with its head thing, it's like she kind of does that all the time. People expect that. Like it's kind of an eccentricity by that point. So she's kind of like that's the harmful part of her, but she's no less crazy than anyone else in Wonderland. So I can't really like judge her too harshly. Okay, Scar. Scar is a guy who believes he's entitled to power. That he thinks he could do a better job than his brother, and he goes about it the rational way, which is kill his brother, get supporters from outside, and tell them that he'll make everything better, and then proceed to run everything into the ground. Scar is essentially like certain modern politicians. He says, "Oh, why is Kim Possible and endearingly awful? Because Kim Possible, she is. If we're going off the molds of protagonists and antagonists here, like Kim Possible is that proactive protagonist who go that pro. Well, no, like not protagonist though. Kim Possible, if we're going off like your standard Guild of Calamitous Intent criteria here, she is she is the one that is the aggressor in all those situations. She's the one who's going in and actively trying to interfere with people's plans and stop them. And yeah, so she is actively the one doing the disrupting. Like if it was like a Guild of Calamitous Intent protagonist versus antagonists, the protagonists are the reactive ones, not the active ones. And by being the active one, she has definitely classified herself as an antagonist. But she is endearingly awful because like I have nothing bad to say about Kim Possible. I don't actually feel a reason to call her out. So she is endearingly awful for that reason. But yeah, no, like I've got a whole mix of like just various Disney characters. It's not as super clear cut necessarily, and I'm just having fun with that. But yeah, let's see here. Yeah, with Scar, as I said, I think I love Scar. Scar is a very charismatic villain. I can't say he did nothing wrong, especially because, like, just looking at what's going on in the world in 2025, Scar is exactly the kind of guy who, like, just takes over and immediately runs things into the ground and says, "Look at me, I'm doing such a better job," even though, like, I've clearly run the entire pride into the ground because I don't know how to manage anything. So Scar is definitely in the kind of ruined everything. Like, I love him, but I think that's where he belongs. All right, we got the by and large CEO from Wally, as played by Fred Willard. Yeah, he kind of has to be in here because he is single-handedly responsible for ruining the Earth. Oh, Bajira. Oh, you're having fun. Yes, yes, I'm having fun with this. Yes, Bajira, I would point out, is going to be Bajira is going to be unwillingly responsible for like uh, big problems for the jungle in the next decade because his solution to Shere Khan wanting to kill this man cub was, let's take this kid who understands how we all think and understands our languages. Let's take him back to humans, and that's not going to cause problems down the line. Let's take him back to a hostile invasive species that currently has like like British colonials and stuff. That's not going to bite us in the butt at all. So like Bagheera made a big tactical mistake in that sense. Like he took a kid from the only family he knew and foisted them on another family that is going to be hostile to the entire jungle. Okay. Oh my God. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just walking through one by one. Oh, I need to explain all of these guys. Okay, it's been just I guess I'll sum up the tiers. A lot of this has been fairly arbitrary. So did nothing wrong. I am those are characters essentially where I'm like, well, you know what? For all they did, good or evil, like maybe it's like they did exactly what they were designed to do, or they were justified in all of their actions. Like Cassandra's entire life kind of forced her down the path of villainy that got set up for her. So she did nothing wrong. Waternoose is there because based on all the information Waternoose had, because he didn't know about the laughter thing, and that's an important thing to note. He was trying to solve an energy crisis by any means necessary, and it was a genuine energy crisis that they were dealing with. Like it wasn't like some capitalistic I need to make line go up. It was straight up I need to keep our civilization working. Um let's see what else there. Doofenshmirtz obviously did nothing wrong. Yeah, we don't know what. Well, we don't know, but we also do know that it is. Yeah, we also do know like based on the era there of it being a colonial India there, the odds are not the highest there. Um, Yzma is in did nothing wrong because, as I pointed out, Yzma doesn't actually plan to murder Cusco until Cusco fires her, and she is clearly the only competent, and she's clearly the one competent advisor still left in the palace at that point, with a spoiled kid who doesn't actually know how to run a country and is like a tyrant. And he fires her, and her response is to assassinate him and take his place because she is and we don't actually see, but she probably would be a more competent ruler than Cusco was. Like, look how quickly the palace guard turns and serves Yzma. Yes, but again, like the palace guard all turned on a dime and supported her. We didn't see much of what she actually did as ruler. She didn't have enough time to pan it out. And that's one of those things I'm giving them there. That's like she also was not the one who was going, you know what, I'm going to destroy this person's house just to build a swimming pool. She was not doing that. That's an important that is an important distinction there. That Cusco was being an absolute tyrant, and so she acted in the best interest of the kingdom there. I mean, she's a piece of work herself. I'm not disagreeing there, but and then of course like Jafar is in there because like yeah, look at the salt, like look at the place. We actually don't have any idea what Jafar would have done with power, other than like once he got it. Like he kind of doesn't get more extreme until his position in power is challenged by Aladdin. Um, and then Maleficent, I went into the whole thing of the rules of just the rules of hospitality and stuff, and how she was wronged by all that. Yeah, but yeah, I'm going back to the by and large CEO. That is a valid point. That is a very valid point. Yeah, that's a good point actually. I might need to duck him down to mostly harmless then, because you raise a very good point. I mean, slavery was not unusual for the time, but that is a very good point. But yeah, the by and large CEO though, by and large CEO, I think that kind of ruined everything isn't strong enough because he is directly responsible for all the problems that happened on Earth. I think he probably needs to be killed. I love Fred Willard. He's very charismatic in the role. He's well cast in the role. But yeah, I think he kind of does need to be killed him with fire. All right, what next? We got Sid. Okay, Sid is a definite did nothing wrong. I don't even need to think about this. He is absolutely did nothing wrong. And as for why, Sid is a toy customizer. Sid is a toy customizer who, as far as he knows, is customizing non-sentient life forms. Like the minute he is traumatized the minute like when all his toys actually attack him. But until then, he is a toy customizer. He does cool stuff. He does kit bashes. Like I have done stuff like that. Like just like taking a bunch of parts from various toys and put them together in the new things. It's like, no, that is fun stuff. Yeah, like Sid did nothing wrong. Actually, I'm trying to remember like how did he get? I'm trying to remember how he got his hands on Buzz. Right, right. With Buzz, didn't he? I'm just trying to remember all the details here for like because Woody was the one who actually got rid of Buzz there. Like Sid came into him, if I remember correctly. Let's see what else. Okay, Star Butterfly. Star Butterfly. She's got her plus. She's got it's like she is the hero of her story. Don't get me wrong, she's the hero of her series. That and she also is somebody who becomes increasingly cognizant of how she is set of how her entire dynastic setup there is entirely just a rewriting of history that puts her family on top and that oppresses all of the native residents and that she has power at the expense of everyone else. That being said, Star also blows up the entire status quo out of when she probably shouldn't have out of her own selfishness. So Star is probably on the needs calling out tier here. I don't think I would put her as evil, but she definitely needs calling out for her actions. Okay, Sully. Sully. So Sully is I'm not sure whether to put him in kind of ruined everything or needs calling out because Sully actually lucked into the fact that he got a way out for Monsters Inc. If it weren't for the fact that he'd accidentally found out that kids' laughter could actually create more power than screams, which nobody knew. If it weren't for that, then Sully would have full on doomed their entire society single-handedly. So I am debating whether or not he is in needs calling out or kind of ruined everything because he almost destroyed because yeah, as I said, he almost destroyed their way of life. I'm leaning towards needs calling out because he did find a way to salvage things and he was not a horrible person at heart. I mean, I'm doing all this through the lens of antagonism, but let's get back in the airship. All right, Syndrome. Syndrome. Okay, Syndrome is awful. Syndrome is entirely selfish, and I actually saw a good thread the other day, like that I was reading of people just discussing just like deeper dives of analysis into the Incredibles and just how horrible Syndrome is as a person. Like, for instance, with Syndrome, there's the whole fact that when we get the flashbacks from his position, from his perspective, like it is entirely about him. It neglects the entire context of how he had been endangering himself and other people that entire day, and the only thing he takes away and remembers is him being personally rejected by Mr. Incredible. And because of that, he then proceeds to go and murder like all the soups. He is resp- his actions are also directly responsible for them getting banned because he is the reason that all of that property damage happens to begin with. He is he is absolutely I don't think he's quite killed them with fire, but I think he is absolutely kind of ruined everything because he blew up the entire status quo and he is incredibly selfish and petty and yeah, let's see. Where is Syndrome's icon here? Let's put Syndrome over there. Okay, we got the Ringmaster from Dumbo, who is just awful. I don't think that we can really justify him. He is just awful. He abuses animals. He like locks up Dumbo's mom. He's just killing with fire. I don't think we can really need to go into that much. He's just awful. Okay, we got the fairies from Sleeping Beauty. And now I get to go back to reprise some of the Maleficent talk that I was doing before, which is that the fairies are responsible for a lot of the issues. The fairies are single-handedly responsible for a lot of the problems there because like they full on egged on, like Maleficent showed up to the royal event there, the birth of Aurora, which was a big deal. She didn't get an invite, which was a slight, but she was willing to look past that. And then the fairies went and antagonized her further with the whole "you weren't invited," which, based off of courtesy rules of the time and like how the unwritten rules of how society and culture worked there, would have been a massive slight. So they were fully responsible for Maleficent then going and casting her curse on Aurora. So the fairies, I don't think they're necessarily evil, but they absolutely need calling out because they were horrible in their move there. Okay, we got Todd here from Fox and the Hound. I mean, Todd got Chief killed. Todd directly got Chief killed. I don't think he's a horrible person. Um, like he's fairly innocent, but like I don't have Amos Slater or Chief on here either. But Chief did nothing wrong. I would put Chief did nothing wrong if I put him on there. And oh no, he didn't get Chief killed. No, he didn't get him. Did he get him killed or did he just get him injured? I can't remember now. Or do you just put him in a cast? I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I've seen Fox and the Hound. But Todd was a mischievous scamp who kept getting into trouble and kept escalating things and kept doing things he knew he shouldn't have done. Okay, yeah, just in the cast, okay. But yeah, Todd definitely did stuff that he shouldn't have. And I think Todd, I need to put him in the needs calling out at the very least. I love that movie, though, Fox and the Hound. It's a dark movie, like, and I'm still mad that they did that Disney did that interquel there because how dare you, like with Fox and the Hound, make like a happy movie that is set pre-time skip, be considering what that movie is actually about. Like that movie is actually full. That movie is full on about like just very difficult stuff there. So messaging wise. Okay, Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph. Well, I mean, like Wreck-It Ralph. If it weren't for the sequel, Wreck-It Ralph would probably be on the Did Nothing Wrong. However, because of the sequel, I mean, we can full on go kind of ruined everything with Ralph because he full on does ruin everything, and he full on it's his own toxicity as a person there because he's not willing to let other people move on and grow beyond him. And because of that, Ralph goes and proceeds to almost like straight up like break the internet because of that. Like Ralph is absolutely kind of ruined everything. Okay, next up we have from the Chip and Dale movie there, we have Sweet Pete, who is a very, yeah, Sweet Pete as a character is very much a mixed bag of a character in terms of a reference, in terms of a, if you know the history that they're referencing with the character, it's both a clever nod and also this is kind of uncomfortable considering like real life. Because the context for this Sweet Pete as a character is he very much mirrors the fate of the actor who voiced Peter Pan in the first place, because that kid was in a lot of Disney stuff. Like he was a child actor for Disney. He did a lot of stuff, and then he went into puberty, and then he didn't get cast anymore because he grew out of like his voice and his appearance and stuff, and he ended up having a very like yeah, the back half of his life is very dark. He died very young, had a lot of drug issues and stuff there. And Sweet Pete kind of as an antagonist is like it's the same sort of thing of Peter Pan grew up and like it absolutely is a reference. They knew their history when they were doing that, and as a nod, yeah, as a nod, it's not a bad one, but it's also like a uncomfortable one that they're. Oh, it is. It is. Yeah. Let me dig that up there. I remember reading about that when that movie came out. Uh, where is that? Yeah, Jared. Let's see. I'm just looking to see if I can find this here. Portrayed by voiced by Bobby Driscoll. Yes, that was the actor there, Bobby Driscoll. Because yeah, mid 1950s, his actor began to decline there. Like he had a lot of roles on. He had a lot of roles for Disney and stuff there. And then yeah, and then he had yeah, he had drug issues there. As he got older there, went through puberty there, and well, yeah, he was like doing like heroin and stuff like when he was 17. Um, and just wasn't getting work and stuff, and he was found, yeah, like wow, like it's what, yeah, he died at 31. Yeah, it's messed up. So but yeah, like he's an he's a good antagonist in the film though. But like Will Arnett does a good job. But like he is absolutely, and his whole evil scheme is essentially he is abducting like animated characters and restyling and just turning them into making knockoff films like for release in other countries there by coercing them into acting as their own knockoff selves in foreign films and just enslaving them and stuff. So yeah, so he is very much an underworld type character. He's not did nothing wrong. I'm definitely not leaning into needs calling out or kind of ruin anything because of the complicated history there. I think I would put him under endearingly awful purely because he isn't entertaining. Like he is awful, but you can kind of see where he's coming from in terms of his awfulness there as a character. All right, Robin Hood. Robin Hood. So Robin Hood, I am definitely not putting under did nothing wrong because Robin Hood is an aristocrat who had issues with like he's nobility whose response to the elites in charge and falling out of favor with other nobles was full on full on thievery and robbery and just disrupting the general social order and hiding out in a private preserve. Yeah, Robin Hood is not really a hero in this regard. Like, I went into my whole thing in terms of why John is under mostly harmless and the historical background as to why I put him there as well. But Robin Hood is very much an insurrectionist who supports King Richard. And again, I will remind you that supporting King Richard means that you are supporting somebody whose approach to becoming king was take the treasury, fight a religious war overseas, lose the religious war, get taken hostage on the way back home, and then have to be ransomed by your country. And why do you think that John needed all the money? Because he had to pay off a war and a ransom. Because that stuff is expensive. So yeah, Robin Hood by backing Richard and wanting him as the king is I'm sorry, but I can't really get behind that behind him. He would be backing he's the type of person to be backing like the worst kind of people. But so let's see. So I'm definitely putting him under needs calling out because he didn't really ruin anything per se. Because Richard came back and all that stuff like without him having to do anything about that. So, but he definitely needs calling out. Okay, Ursula. Ursula makes contracts with people there. Like hellish bargains. And why can I not see Ursula on my list here? Yeah, okay, there's a few characters whose icons didn't show up in my tier list. I'll skip her then with that in mind. But yeah, Ursula, I would definitely put on probably endearingly awful because she is horrible. She is power hungry and stuff, manipulative, but she's really entertaining. Okay, Grunkle Stan though. Grunkle Stan is just so much fun. He is definitely a scam art. He is a scam artist. He is a grifter. He is a lot of fun. He is very charismatic. He is a fantastic character. I think he very much belongs under Mostly Harmless as a character because he definitely is like a scam, like a con artist and scam artist and stuff like that there. Mostly Harmless. Sorry, who did nothing wrong? Are we talking about Stan or are we talking about someone else? Okay, Stan. That's a good point because he did. Because I'm thinking about it because like his approach. That's true because his approach to because he didn't make the deal. He wasn't the one that made the deal with Bill. That was his brother. Stan actually did do everything he could to save his brother. That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point there. Yeah. Okay, you've sold me on that on the did nothing wrong. I love Stan, so. Bill Cipher on the other hand though, Bill Cipher is like you know what? I'm torn between endearingly awful and kill them with fire because Bill is just such a fun villain. That's true. Yeah, that is true. But yeah, I am torn with Bill in terms of if he should be under endearingly awful or kill him with fire, because Bill is just such a fun villain, but he is also horrible. He did, yeah. Oh, he absolutely did, yeah. So I mean, because it's like Bellows made it to kill them with fire because Bellows is like an actual horrible person, but like canonically, if I remember correctly, canonically even Bill thinks that Bellows is a piece of work. I think there was a bit in like the Book of Bill there where he that references a Bellows, and even Bill thinks that, if I remember correctly, even Bill thinks that Bellows is a piece of work. I'm just trying to remember where that what. Like I saw someone talk about that somewhere, but yeah, yeah, that's true. Ruin everything. Yeah, it's because the problem is that like Bill does ruin everything, but I don't think he ever has a conception of. Yeah, he's kind of like a higher level being though too, so it's like hard to like rationalize. Yeah, I don't know. I'm leaning towards endearingly awful because he is just a fun villain. He is horrible, but he's also like a really fun villain. So I don't know. Zira, on the other hand, Zira is probably would definitely be under either kind of ruined everything or kill them with fire, considering that she was somebody who basically took the whole thing of Scar being of losing power because she allied with Scar to just I'm going to groom my son to take it. I'm oh hey my son has a thing for the princess. I'm going to groom my son to like capitalize on the relationship and put us back in charge for our own selfish yeah, she was full on a user of children, and yeah, Zira is like horrible. There's nothing redeeming about her. Yeah, Zira has the great musical number. Yes, the fantastic musical number. Um, but yeah, like she also is. Yeah, she is just horrible. Like Zira is essentially like the she's like Maga, full Maga essentially there. Who yeah, like she is awful. Let's see. I'm gonna put. I think I'm gonna put on her Kill Him with Fire. I don't really like Zero that much. Radcliffe though. Radcliffe probably does go into Kill Him with Fire because again he is a self-absorbed colonialist who is just fabricates a war with people there and starts an entire conflict and is just unwilling to share and is just like horrible, horrible, horrible. Like fun character, but yeah, like yeah, Radcliffe is definitely Kill Them with Fire. I think. I have no respect for Radcliffe as a villain. Scrooge McDuck. So Scrooge McDuck. This one I'm very torn on because Scrooge McDuck is as the richest duck in the world. In order to get to be the richest duck in the world, he definitely made a lot of questionable calls, and he definitely feels no remorse for making those questionable calls. Like he is a bit of a miserable person in certain regards, especially if we're going off the comic incarnation of Scrooge, where like it wasn't until later that his rough edges kind of started to get sanded down, but he was kind of a bit of a like he was very much like a bit of a horrible person. He just wasn't as bad as some of the other ones. Like in a lot of his appearances, for instance, with when Donald shows up there, like he is full on exploiting like anything he can in order to not have to pay for things. Like Scrooge will full on like exploit a situation as best he can. The only difference with Scrooge and characters like Glomgold is that Scrooge won't actively cheat somebody. Well, no, I guess he kind of does cheat Donald, but he's upfront about his cheating. Like he doesn't go and do crimes, but he will abuse what he can do legally. Scrooge. So I think I have to put Scrooge as endearingly awful because I love Scrooge, but is definitely like a selfish billionaire who has done some awful things. Shigo is just fun. Shigo is awesome. Yeah, I think Shigo also probably hits. I think I think Shigo probably also hits like the endearingly awful because she's like, well, actually, huh? Because she's not a good person, but On the other hand, Shigo, I'm inclined to say, is more of a did nothing wrong. Actually, thinking about it, because yeah, Shigo is one. Look at the people that Shigo has to put up with in her life. If you wonder why she turned out the way she did, one, she had Tim Allen as her older brother there, who was very much an egomaniac with Team Go, and it's little wonder that she went the direction she did, considering how messed up Team Go is as a group. And then also like Draken, like just she had to put up with Draken to the point where there's the one multi-parter there where she full on like takes over the world. She takes over the world there like after all those other villains are trying to do that. And is very much just she just got fed up with everybody and just finally just did okay fine, I'm just gonna take over. Well, when you say worst villain she knows, do you mean as in worst as in most incompetent villain or worst as in most evil? Because Draken's definitely not most evil. And she also was a fairly good mentor to Senior Junior as well. Like they actually worked pretty well together, and she was genuinely a fairly decent mentor to him. Yeah, like it's the thing too is that like with Team, I really like the episode too where you get like the personality flip there with Team Go, where like their old enemy inverts everybody there, and it's really interesting from a standpoint of like what Shigo could have been, because we know that Shigo kind of like the reason she is the way she is because Team Go was such a dysfunctional organization that there was only one way she was going to go. So yeah, she's definitely I think she's definitely did nothing wrong. She has to put up with all these people, and the reason she takes over the world like when she does is because she's finally had it because of all these people she's had to work with. Sheriff of Nottingham. Sheriff of Nottingham, yeah, this is a he is on the one hand, I've been very critical of like authority figures and stuff. He is very much like he is very much carrying out like the rules that he's been given, and he is enjoying it. He is definitely getting pleasure. He is definitely taking pleasure in abusing and exploiting others. Um, but I don't, and and that is an evil thing there in of itself. But he is ultimately like not the one who is instigating the evil. So he is very much on the he is still the just following orders tier, which is still bad, but not like the worst. Um, Probably endearingly awful because like his yeah he, like honestly like his like I love his voice actor there. Like he also voiced Chief there in Fox and the Hound. So like it's just such a fun. Who voiced Sheriff from Nottingham again? Is that who I'm thinking of? Who voiced him? That was okay. That was Pat Buttram that voiced him. Yeah, okay. Yeah, like and Pat Buttram does some good voice work. So let's see. What else? Also, oh geez, I just saw like through the grapevine, like just through some chat groups there. Geez, Val Kilmer passed away. That sucks. Ugh. That's someone who got dealt a raw deal in life. What with his like was it throat cancer I think he had there and lost his voice. Like yeah, he still had like Val Kilmer like thinking about this, and I can tie this into the villainy thing actually too because my favorite Val Kilmer performance is actually in MacGruber when he played the villain in MacGruber and they did him up like a Steven Seagal type villain there. So, and he's kind of fantastic in that role, like as Dieter von Kunt. Like it's a fun character that he plays there. Okay, Queen Eclipsa. Absolutely, it did nothing wrong. All she got demonized because she fell in love with a monster, and she got made a villain in history because she fell in love with a monster, and so she absolutely did nothing wrong. Like she is entirely was blacklisted from history for like evil reasons. Okay, Gizmo Duck. Gizmo Duck is a well, I mean, like he is a cop. I mean, yeah, like he's law enforcement stuff. There, he is. Hmm. How to characterize Gizmo Duck? Like he's not necessarily the greatest at his job there either. Like bit full of himself. He's very much that because I have all the power, I get to do all this stuff because I invented this whole fancy suit. Oh wait, no, except even in the original DuckTales, he didn't invent it himself. He was just like Scrooge's accountant. So he just let power go to his head and became a superhero. Like at least he was a lab assistant in like the modern reboot there, but it's like he was even lower on the totem pole like in the original. So yeah, let's see. I'm gonna have to take him and I think we need to call out Gizmo Duck, but I don't think we need to do much more with that. What else we got here? Woody. Okay, Woody is awful. Woody is less awful than he was in the early drafts of the film. Tom Hanks definitely makes him more likable, but Woody is the worst. Woody is all about as soon as Woody's authority is challenged in Andy's bedroom, he becomes horrible, and he immediately like starts scheming to to take out Buzz. I mean, it says a lot that they had to actually that the version of Woody we got in the film was the toned down version of Woody because Woody was originally like way worse in the original drafts. Um, but yeah, Woody is definitely kind of ruined everything because he kind of did ruin everything. He kind of like as soon as he got threatened by Buzz, he wasn't willing to live with the fact that Buzz was better. Well, I mean, he full on threw Buzz out a window so that he could go with Andy to Pizza Planet. Like, yeah, he's not good. He is not a good person in Woody. Woody kind of ruins every. Woody, I would put under kind of ruined everything because Woody, as soon as his power got challenged, decided to go and like vindictively strike against his opponent there. I mean, there's the whole question of, oh, he didn't actually mean for Buzz to go out the window. He just wanted Buzz to fall behind the table. But it's still a case of that's still essentially he wanted Buzz in purgatory, essentially. Like it's like saying, oh no, I didn't mean to kill you. I just meant to put you in a coma. Like that's still bad. That's still horrible. Okay, Xanatos is absolutely like on the did nothing wrong tier, I think here. Xanatos is awesome. He doesn't, unlike a lot of villains, to Xanatos' credit, I appreciate the fact that Xanatos does not hold grudges. Xanatos is the sort of person who, when he is defeated, I mean, like the whole term Xanatos Gambit comes from the fact that, like, even when he loses, he generally wins. But like, I mean, like the gargoyles sent him to jail like after that first story arc there, and he served his time. He got a fairly light sentence. He got out, and then he proceeded to not actually hold any grudges against the gargoyles. And unlike a lot of people, he didn't actively scheme. A lot of villains, he didn't actively scheme against them. He just continued to go about his like he was very much like just I don't even know if I would say if he's lawful neutral. I can't even say lawful neutral because he was definitely willing to bend the law whenever and manipulate things. Probably like more like true neutral because he only ever served himself. Um, like he only ever served himself in his own aims and whatever he felt like doing at the time. So he's not even really. I guess if evil is, he's not really like in the business of I need to rule over everybody. It's more of a yeah, like if he does happen to have power over people. Actually, I'm not sure where to characterize him there because he definitely has said and done stuff that is definitely like more on the evil track there. But he is not like a vindictive, petty, individual there. He's absolutely selfish, but he is not like yeah, but he's not like cripplingly so. I think I still would put him on did nothing wrong though, because Xanatos is definitely someone who you can reason with and negotiate with, and yeah, such a great character. Okay, Yen Sid. You know what? I'm not sure whether or not to put him on Did Nothing Wrong or not, because like ultimately Mickey was kind of an incompetent apprentice, and Mickey deserves to be where he is on the like kind of ruined everything. Like I mean, Sorcerer's Apprentice, he does that. Like Yen Sid is yeah, Yen Sid is probably on the like probably did nothing wrong. I mean, like he comes across as like just the guy, but yeah. Let's put Yen Sid up there. All right, who we got left? Oh, is that the end of the slideshow? Okay, I'm gonna have to open some stuff. We still got a bunch of stuff in here, so I just must have started the slideshow and not at the beginning when I was jumping through the when I was jumping through all these slides. So let me just jump back and find. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's jump back over here and do some of these other ones. Oh, hold up. I need to find the window again. Where is that? Hold up. I need to just adjust this. Let's just change this here to find window, same executable. There we go. Cutler Beckett from Pirates. Okay, so he is absolutely not did nothing wrong. He is actually kind of awful, and he just full on like goes against piracy, kills Elizabeth's father, um, you know, enslaves a bunch of creatures. Like he is like full on like British imperialist. He probably is like in the kill them with fire tier there because he is kind of a horrible, horrible person, and he gets exactly what he deserves. We're home stretch. We've only got like how many left do I have left? I've got like 12 left on this list, so not many left. Oh, okay, yeah, Mother Gothel. Gothel. Okay, Gothel is definitely a kill them with fire tier. Gothel is horrible. Especially, and I'm not just talking like Tangled as the movie, but when we find out what some of the other stuff that she did, like in the animated series, like she just is like a horrible human being. Like she full on neglected her own daughter because of the fact that she could steal another kid there in order to like abuse them for eternal youth. Like, and her own daughter she treated as a slave. Like just Gothel is horrible. Gothel is like a horrible, horrible person. And like Tangled as a series, like one of the things Tangled is ultimately about by the end of it is like the trauma that Gothel inflicted on her, on like the both her like on her flesh and on her adopted child. I mean adopted, less adopted, more abducted, but you know what I mean. Okay, next up we have Michael Eisner. Because yes, I have a few a handful of real people on this. Like I put Jeffrey Katzenberg on Kill Them with Fire. Um, Eisner though, Eisner I am a bit more mixed bag on there. So honestly, in terms of stuff, because Eisner is why Disney animation had a resurgence in the 90s. Eisner gave a crap about animation and gave them the money in order to bring animation back and make it big. Um, Eisner is also the reason. Eisner also post Disney went on, and his production company is the one that produced BoJack Horseman. So Eisner is also responsible for one of the greatest animated series of the 2010s. Um, yeah, like he definitely has had missteps, like the Disney Pixar stuff, which he almost blew up there. For instance, like that whole thing of Loggerheads, where you had Eisner and Steve Jobs, who are both very strong personality types, and they just like were like oil and water. So that's definitely a negative. But Eisner oversaw like a lot of growth in Disney for animation. He is responsible, even though he is responsible for a lot of the success because he put the right people in place. Like you still need the money person in order to make things possible, and Eisner was definitely that person. Um, so I think Eisner, even though he has his negatives and stuff, I think I'm gonna put Eisner under like mostly harmless, considering that how much Disney animation we owe to Michael Eisner, like from the 1990s. Like the whole Disney Afternoon block, that is because Michael Eisner, like the because he took over the company and then brought them in and was like, "Yeah, I want to bring animation back. What do you guys need?" And just essentially gave them a blank check to do stuff. So yeah, so Eisner is up there for me. Okay, Snow White. Snow White is manipulative. Snow White exploits the goodwill of a whole bunch of laborers there in order to prop her up, and she freeloads off of them. Um, I mean, Snow White definitely. On the one hand, she did nothing wrong because her crime was existing, more or less. On the other hand, she is also completely naively oblivious to the realities of like the real world, and she full on just I mean, she just full on expects everything to be handed to her on a silver platter. And unfortunately, stuff is generally handed to her on a silver platter. So she is. I think I'm gonna have to put her under mostly harmless because she is not. She is. Oh wait, she's not on the. Okay, that's another one who didn't actually, for some reason, get on the list that I imported here. So okay, so she's not gonna be on the final list, but okay. We got Al though from Toy Story 2, from Al's Toy Barn, and Al, I'm going to. I think Al's only crime there would have been. Yeah, the only real crime I would give him would be stealing Woody. That is still a crime. That is still shoplifting because like he still knowingly stole a toy, which he did legitimately try to buy, and he tried to he tried to undersell it because he knew exactly what he had. So he tried to like just swindle them on there because he knew exactly what he was buying. But yeah, all but by the same token, he also then hired a restoration person to actually fix up Woody there. He is responsible for like that whole crew. Yeah, they were doomed to a museum, but he did still essentially save all of them from like just completely being forgotten. Um, like yeah, like Al is definitely like counts as the thief, but yeah, he definitely is mostly harmless, I would say. I can't really say he's that evil. Demona. Okay, Demona. Demona did nothing wrong. Demona did absolutely nothing wrong. She was driven to what she did because of because of humans. Like she was not a bad person, and then humans happened, and then humans sculpted her into a cruel person who had it out for humans for justified reasons. Humans killed all their kids because they were like yeah. So yeah, understandable. All right. Next up, we got Lord Dominator. Lord Dominator. I'm gonna put Lord Dominator under endearingly awful because she's a fun antagonist, but she is also like full on like actually evil. But she is like more so than hater for sure. Like she actually like full on is like I'm gonna blow up. I'm gonna destroy everything. So you can't question whether or not she's like evil, but she is endearingly so. Okay, we're almost done. We've only got a handful left. Okay, we're on to like Mr. Dawes Senior, the bank manager from the first Mary Poppins film, and as played by Dick Van Dyke. And yeah, Dawes Senior is what to say about Dawes Senior? He fires Mr. Banks. So that's kind of awful. Um, yeah, like he is just yeah, he fires him. He fires him for all the disruption and stuff there. Um, and he is just like, yeah. And plus, he's the manager of a bank and stuff too, and just the whole thing of, like just service of money over people and stuff like that. I mean, he dies at the end of the movie too, mind you. So he does get his comeuppance, but he does kind of ruin everything in the context of the film's story because he fires Mr. Banks. Okay, next up we've got Jack Sparrow. Okay, Jack Sparrow is just a chaos demon. Um, I mean, I guess he's kind of like more endearingly awful, I think, there. Like he's a horrible person, he double crosses people, he is like just does all yeah. Yeah, I think I put him under endearingly awful because again, he's a pirate, he is against slavery. I believe it's explicitly canon that The reason he turned pirate was because he had a cargo. He was captain of a transport that was carrying slaves, and he balked at that. And you know what? That is completely reasonable there. Well, you know what? Actually, no. He's more mostly harmless. He's like a chaos demon. He's drunk most of the time. Okay, Cusco though. Cusco is absolutely, I think, especially if we're talking about Cusco like early in the film. Cusco is absolutely a kind of ruined everything. And let me zoom it. Let's go up here. Hold up. I need to just make this a bit bigger. Yeah, we're writing this stuff. Yeah, Cusco is absolutely a kind of ruined everything because again, like he is a spoiled child who only grows as a person because of the fact he gets turned into a llama and then has to actually learn humility in the course of the rest of the movie. But Cusco, like at the beginning of the film, is absolutely horrible. He is responsible. He is just making life worse for everybody. Um, like end of the film, he's a much better person, but like yeah, kind of ruined everything. Describes Cusco like at the start of his character arc. Okay, Basil of Baker Street. Now, Basil of Baker Street. Why is he in here? Basil is actually kind of an awful person. Um, like Radigan is a villain. Don't get me wrong, but Basil's your Sherlock Holmesian type, where it's like he's not a good person. He is just a person he is obsessed with defeating his nemesis. He doesn't really care about the good or evil of it all. He just wants to he wants to defeat Radigan, and he wants to and he is more obsessed with the fact that he hasn't been able to stop him than whether or not what Radigan is doing is right or wrong. Like it's a proper Sherlock Holmes in this Holmes character in that sense. And then yeah, he is not really concerned with the morality of the situation. He is just concerned with being right and with winning. And yeah, and that definitely makes him a bit more of a makes him a bit more antagonistic. Yeah. So where are we putting him in there? Where are we going to put Basil in this ranking? Now Basil is, I think Basil just is in the needs calling out. I think he fits in the needs calling out here. But also from Great Mouse Detective coming up next, we have the Queen, and look, she is a pastiche of Queen Victoria. She She is the mouse version of the person who led the British Empire at one of its peaks in the late 19th century, and as such, she kind of just by default goes into she rule. It's a diamond. She's got her diamond jubilee, so it's what like that's is that 50 or 60 years? I can't remember. But she's been monarch for a while there, and she's monarch of the British Empire. Like which at that point is full on just engaging in a lot of its colonial projects worldwide and controls like a third of the known world at that point. She's kind of awful, even though she is not portrayed as such in the film, just by her actions that she would have done off screen, mirroring the actual Queen Victoria. Yeah, so she is. Yeah, so I would put her under Kill Them with Fire. I mean, Radigan is awful, but and Radigan is definitely a selfish villain and wouldn't be any better. But yeah, that doesn't mean that she's good either. Like, I'm sure that if you asked, like, say, like all the people outside of like Mousedom, like the Great Britain there, like in the other mouse-controlled parts of the world, they probably would not have as nice things to say about her, unless like depending, like say in the mouse version of Africa, for instance, and stuff like that. All right, we got Bowler Hat Guy as well too. Bowler Hat Guy is Bowler Hat Guy is very much like a mostly harmless, I think there. Because yeah, Bowler Hat Guy, he's not really that evil. He is just very incompetent and he can't read the room, and like he definitely causes like stuff to happen, but it's very much like Doris that is manipulating him just as much as anything, and he himself is just kind of yeah, he's kind of a product. He's kind of a product of his own like character flaws. Especially when we get his flashbacks and see how like one-sided those are, and a lot of that is just due to his own like admittedly he is a little bit of a neurodivergent villain in the sense that like he is unable to read a lot of social cues, and he's kind of obsessed with his own hobbies of baseball. And then like when that turns into screwing over and then he obsesses over that one moment for the rest of his life and everything. And like we get the flashbacks there, we can see where he talks about it's like how no one liked him and no one wanted him, and it's like no, he was just so caught up in his own little world he just completely ignored all that. So yeah, he's absolutely a mostly harmless. Um, and the last person we have on this list here, I'm gonna have to step through this for a sec here, because I skipped them just to do them last. Last person we have here is none other than Walt Disney himself. Walt Disney, where does he rank on this antagonist analysis? Well, Walt Disney was not a union guy. Walt Disney did a lot of stuff. Walt Disney was very good at Walt Disney was very good at managing his own image. Makes it like there's a lot I think about him that is like like just that down to earth stuff. But he could also be a very ruthless person. Um, Walt Disney famously he did not like unions. He was personally attacked. He felt personally attacked by the fact that Disney unionized because they weren't getting paid very fairly for what they were doing. Like he was personally offended by that, and went after the union stuff. I think a lot of I know there's the jokes with regards to things like Family Guy and stuff like that, but I don't think there's a lot of actual historical basis for some of that stuff. Like Henry Ford was way worse, like a completely different tier than Disney ever was. I don't think there's actually a lot of evidence for like Disney being anti-Semitic. I think it's more like circumstantial stuff, but ultimately though, yeah, Disney was anti-union, so it's definitely a checkered past. He built Disney, and Disney is like very much a mixed just octopus of an organization. I think I have to put Disney under. I can't do neat. I can't say like kill them with fire or kind of ruined everything because the fact remains I'm doing a Disney tier list. Like Disney definitely shaped like all of our lives, all of our childhoods. But I think he does have to belong in needs calling out because yeah, Disney definitely did stuff that was not great as well. Yeah, he absolutely did. There's all the social engineering and stuff too, like the Lemmings thing, for instance. That's right, where they full on made up the entire myth of lemmings leaping off a cliff by faking documentary footage, like for their stuff. Like Disney was absolutely about manufacturing images there. Like he created an idealized version of how he thought the past was, and invented a lot of false nostalgia. And it's entertainment, yes, but there is also a lot of very deliberate engineering of like a past that didn't actually exist. Um, like he very much did a lot of like propagandist stuff in that sense. Visionary though, absolutely a visionary, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of good things to say about him, but there's definitely a lot of bad things too. So he's a mixed bag of a person. And with that said, that is the entire tier list that we have here. That is everybody that I've yeah, we went through I think 113 characters here. So that was a long list. But yeah, that is the list. So, I mean, I guess just once over, if anyone's got any questions about like some of the placements here or anything like that, um, if anyone's got questions about like say like, oh, why did you put this here or something like that, like by all means, feel free to ask. Because yeah, this was an interesting exercise. Just trying to get through all these. It was a fun exercise too. But yeah, um, yeah. Like I probably like there's definitely more. I wouldn't mind doing more tier lists for like ranking villains like under these same criteria. Like say doing you could do stuff with Marvel characters, probably with Star Wars characters. I mean, I could. It'd be fun to do like a tier list of just ranking Transformers at some point. There, just say do the entire cast of G1 and just rank them all. Though I don't think I would use this ranking if I was doing that. Like the actual ranking tiers were me kind of having fun for April 1st and just getting a bit clever. But yeah, that's the list. So that's pretty much what I had planned for tonight. So you know what? Let's find someone to rate out to. Let's see who's going still on my list. Thank you everyone who came by, and let's see who is going. Let's see who is going, and I'm just seeing. Oh, Sapphire Knight's doing doing like a chair spinning stream. Okay, I'm just looking to see who's all going here. Oh, that's an interesting one too. Um, hmm. Yeah, let's raid into Sapphire Knight here. They are doing looks like they are doing a chair spinning stream here. And oh my God, their model is a chair today. Yeah. So they're doing some April 1st-ish stuff too. So let's raid in there. Let's raid into the Sapphire Knight. So yeah, again, thank you everyone who came by. Let's bring up the end stream graphic here. Let's bring that up. So we're gonna be back tomorrow with some Genshin. I'm going to finish up the rest of the story stuff that we started last week, and that'll be good. We should be able to get all that done, and then probably do some like the current weekly event that's going on there for Genshin. But yeah, that is the current plan. That is the current plan. So again, thank you all, everybody who came by tonight. And I guess I will see you all see as many of you as possible tomorrow, I guess, for like that stream. Until next time, everybody.